This episode of the Dirt Talk podcast is with Rich Jones of BuildWell Health. Rich is the founder of BuildWell, a behavioral health company built specifically for the construction industry. He's also a licensed clinical addiction specialist and a person in recovery himself from opioid and alcohol use disorder for over 26 years. He watched the industry spend years talking about mental health at safety weeks and conferences, and nothing changed. So he built a model that works. In this episode, he reveals why construction doesn't have a mental health problem, it has a systems problem, and why the companies still handing out EAP phone numbers and calling it done are making things worse, not better. Construction has an issue mentally and physically from a health standpoint. And we've spent so much money and time on safety, and yet safety has not really improved, statistically speaking, since 2007. And from a suicide standpoint, from a accidental overdose standpoint, from a mental health standpoint, probably from a divorce standpoint and quality of life standpoint, go down the list, we've not gotten any better. We've gotten a lot worse. Now, there's not a lot of people talking about this in an effective way. And there's not a lot of people talking about mental health in an effective way in general. But that's why I love Rich's message. And that's why I want to help get Rich's message out to as many construction business owners and to as many people in the construction industry as possible. He's not preaching to people. He's not up on his high horse. He is saying, hey, I've been there. I get it. And here are some things that are very practical that can help you or help those around you get to a better place. So that is a little bit on this episode. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Here it is. First, like, what's your background from a professional standpoint for people that don't know?
Yeah, I'm a licensed clinical addiction specialist, certified employee assistance professional, about 7 or 8 other credentials that you have to get to work in this field.
Sure.
And I've been in practice for 26 years. But the other thing that's important about my story is I'm in recovery myself. So I've been in recovery for 26 years from an opioid use disorder and an alcohol use disorder.
And so, so you've walked this path yourself.
Yes.
And then you've been doing it for nearly 3 decades.
Yes.
And exposed in that period of time to thousands.
I pretty much have seen, like, the one thing that's unique about my experience is that I've seen a lot of different angles of the behavioral health crisis. Like, you'll talk to a lot of people who've worked in rehab their whole career. Mm-hmm. They're going to tell you like one slice of the pie. Mm-hmm. Maybe you'll talk to somebody else who's worked in community mental health. They'll tell you, I've done all of that.
Sure.
In this world, you always have to work 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. So, like, I've always just been working psych hospitals, rehabs on the side. So I've got to see a lot of different angles. In 26 years. But
I've watched a lot of videos from you. I'm actually watching them right now on Bill Would Improve, the stuff you did through U-Turn, and I appreciate how you come about it, because you're not talking down to anybody. Because you constantly say, like, I've been there too. This is my experience, which makes it so much more relatable, because I think the industry also has a really bad rap from these highly educated people thinking they know best, and them almost talking down to people.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't understand it like I do, because I have all of these letters next to my name, and I've been trained and trained and trained. So let me tell you how it is.
Yes.
And you don't do that, which makes it kind of like allows people to meet you where you are. In a sense, it feels like I'm just having a conversation with you when you're talking about this stuff that's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But I think it makes it so much more approachable and relatable.
Yeah, and it's, I think, for people, for most therapists, Aaron, what they do is they go to school. So you go to school for like 6 to 7 years. Mm-hmm. You spend a bunch of money to get this advanced degree. Then you get supervised by this other professional who's very meticulous in telling you what you're supposed to be doing and stuff. And then you hit the real world and you realize that nothing you learned about actually applies to any of the stuff that you're trying to do to help people.
Yeah.
For most people, it's too much. They can't compute, and I'll just say it, they were taught from the wrong perspective.
Sure.
And when you go into it thinking that you're going to get into this situation where I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to issue advice to people because I'm somehow like some way a more self-actualized human being. And let me tell you, like most of the therapists I know are some of the most screwed up people I've ever met, especially the ones I like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that idea and where that comes from. And it's so interesting that you would pick that up, that there's this vibe of like, I am like up here and you're down here. Because that's exactly what Freud taught.
Yeah. Well,
he taught that like, I am so above other human beings that I can help you figure that out.
Yeah, and he's one of the fathers of
if that dude was around today, he'd be on the other side of treatment, let me tell you what.
Oh yeah.
Like that guy had some major league issues going on. Yeah.
And there are some concepts from him that I really enjoy. Like I talk about the hierarchy of needs in a way, and with infrastructure being the physiological needs, and then you have humanity built on top of that.
That was Maslow's.
Oh, shoot.
That was Abraham Maslow.
That was Maslow. Sorry.
And there are things about Freud that are absolutely true. Like the thing that I really buy into is I think Freud hits it on the head with the defense mechanisms. I think human beings do that. I think we tell ourselves things so we don't have to face the truth because the truth is too psychologically painful.
Sure.
So intellectualizing, rationalizing, minimizing. I think he got that right.
Absolutely.
I think he just got real weird. Probably when he was the later he was up doing coke while he was writing. That's probably where some of the weirder stuff came out.
I coincidentally, I just stumbled across this the other day while looking for something else. But this, I think, tees up this conversation better than anything I could say. This was from this random rabbit hole on Reddit, which Reddit is a great place for random rabbit holes. But it was under a construction manager's thread. And the title is, "The Industry's Growing Awareness and Focus on Suicide Makes Me Want to Puke." And this guy wrote, "It really chaps my ass that in every project's orientation I sit through, there's a serious segment on suicide in the construction industry and how we all need to take better care of ourselves and one another mentally and emotionally. Then they turn around and demand you put in 60 to 70 hour weeks, often for years at a time, without seeing your family, having time to rest, sleep, relax, time for hobbies, time for vacation, time to see the doctor, etc. It's such a crock of shit that only serves to benefit the companies and reduce their liability. They absolutely do not care about our well-being. If they did, they would stop allowing schedules and deadlines to be increasingly sped up more and more each day, faster and faster with each project. I get that the idea is to get the work and to keep it, but we are on a runaway train that keeps speeding up regarding construction timelines as a whole right now, and it will only stabilize if the industry starts to push back."
Yep. I'd say that guy nailed it.
Nailed it.
Said out loud what a lot of people are thinking.
Nailed it.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people are thinking that.
Yeah.
And that the whole what's going to happen, and we were talking earlier about this. It's very predictable when you study anything where anybody's tried to attack a public health issue, and we have to talk in clear terms. The construction industry or that subpopulation, whatever label you put on it, blue collar workers, the trades, whatever label is most appropriate. There's a problem. There's a massive problem. There's a public health issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's been identified, and there's a crisis going on. And you see this happen all the time. You see it happen with the opioid epidemic in general. You just start doing these things called stigma awareness talks. Mm-hmm. And you get people like me, and I did it with the opioid epidemic. And I want to go on the record and say I will continue to do stigma awareness talks. Because,
likewise. That's a part of my talk.
But here's what the problem is. If people actually think for a minute that that's going to penetrate these issues, mm-hmm. they're lying to themselves, and we got to have an honest conversation about that. That is meant to be the beginning of a robust culture shift in any given company, but honestly across the industry as a whole.
Sure.
Like I've been doing now, I would consider myself specializing in mental health in the construction industry for the last 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm talking like every day. It's the air I breathe, everything I read. And I won't open my mouth till I feel like I know. Like I've been on a lot of sites at this point. It is such a deeply ingrained issue on these job sites. What that guy is saying right there is what everyone is thinking. Mm-hmm. And so you're running out these toolbox talks and everything to people like that, but they're not going to say anything really except on Reddit.
Sure.
So we think we're doing the right thing, and really you can make an argument you're making it worse.
Well, I agree. Like Vince Cifelli was really outspoken about suicide in construction for a very long time. And one of the most important points I think he made while he was talking about it was don't talk about it unless you're serious about doing something about it.
Yep.
If you just go and talk about it, you're going to make it worse. You're going to ruin your credibility further. You're going to create dissension amongst your people. Because I think humans are very intuitive. Humans are very smart. We're very well-trained social creatures.
Yeah.
And we can tell when someone's pulling the wool over our eyes.
Right.
We might not do something about it.
Right.
Because of financial incentives or whatever it is, but we know it's happening, which then creates growing resentment.
Yeah.
Which then perpetuates some of the issues.
Well, and what's going to happen is, again, I think you can just look at society as a benchmark for this. It'll literally go away, and you're already seeing it. Like, you could track. I would make an argument. I haven't done this. I've only looked at some of the conference announcements. You will see a marked reduction in mental health talks at the conferences already. And the reason is people don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear your standard operating. This number of people have died from suicide. This number of people have died from overdose. We need to do something different.
Sure.
People are tired of hearing that.
Sure.
And they'll tell you in a Reddit thread, or if you really open it up for them, they'll let you know. Yeah. Now, but here's the hope, and what's really, really interesting. And I would make an argument. You probably find this in any company. What you will run into is in any given company, because of their own personal experiences or maybe family member experiences or whatever it may be, there are true champions. Mm-hmm. If you can find a way to bridge the gap between the stigma reduction, superficial bull crap into those guys, then you're hitting gold.
Yeah.
Those are the people that send people to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, out of all the efforts that we do when it comes to like promoting Build Well Health and getting people to call us when they need us, it's finding those champions, whoever they are. And they exist in every company because everybody has struggles.
There's no company without this in some capacity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would make an argument there's no family. Like, and when I say that, I don't say that tongue in cheek. I'm not trying to be like a cynical kind of like smart ass. I believe that just based on 26 years of doing therapy across all different socioeconomic classes, everything, like, it is the norm. What's gotten weird is we've labeled it. Does that part? Humans have always struggled with these kind of things. Mm-hmm. Now they're boxed up and they have different labels on, and we can give you a pill for all of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and what's weird too is that we've separated physical and mental health.
Oh yeah.
We've labeled it's mental health.
Yes.
Where it's physical health and well-being.
Yes.
It's not just health. And that I think is one of the core issues here too, is that we're like, if somebody is struggling mentally, it's not as simple as asking some simple questions, but there are some pretty good indicators. Like, Are you sleeping?
Yep.
What are you eating? Are you doing anything physical?
Yep.
Like, there are some pretty simple underlying things. Like if you're sedentary, if you're not sleeping, if you're physically unfit,
yes,
your mind is probably going to be unfit as well.
And it's stunning that that's not the first thing that people talk about.
It is.
Whenever they do, when they meet somebody that they're trying to help.
But like, what's stunning to me about the construction industry is that the whole industry is built upon bodies.
Yeah.
And yet we don't talk about bodies at all. Zero. We talk about safety glasses.
Yeah.
We talk about, we need type 2 hard hats now, and we're going to spend $100 million giving everybody a chin strap to really save the day.
Yeah.
But we're not going to say a peep about people's physical health and wellness.
I can't. So why do you think the physical health part of it is so hard for people to talk about? I think the mental health part of it is, I feel like you can look at society and you can point to like, it's a very stigmatizing topic on the mental health side, right? Like people get made fun of, the terms that have been used for decades. She's a crackhead. He's crazy as hell.
Alcoholic.
Hopeless drunk. Like I think you can look to like a lot of behaviors and say, okay, that's why but on the physical health side, I don't understand.
I think partially it's because it doesn't align with the construction industry.
It's too hard. It's too inconvenient.
Model. It doesn't work with the business
model. It's way
model
inconvenient, man, to say like.
Yeah, because to be physically healthy, working 70 to 80 hours a week, 60 to 80, it's really hard.
It might be impossible.
Yeah. I mean, for a single male, maybe you could do it. But if you have a family and if you're commuting or there's all these variables, no way. And then if you're physically healthy, you're making a trade-off with sleep. So there's no way you're getting adequate sleep. Like, it doesn't math, I think, is the problem. Like, no. I don't think it works with the business model right now. That is, especially with the data centers and these high speed projects, even the stadium they're building right here in town.
Yeah.
Those boys are working Saturdays and Sundays, nights. They've got concrete pours every time I drive by at 4 a.m. Like, they're just grinding out there.
And nobody's saying anything, and it's just the way it is. And I think that's the part of it right there, that mentality is just it's still so much there, right?
Yeah.
And even when I'm talking about it, because, I go out and I have to overcome stigma around me and the profession of being a psychologist. Like that, I literally got to go in and crack jokes like, hey, I'm a therapist, don't hold that against me. And sort of like mill around before the talk and make sure people know that this dude's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I come from a blue collar background. I get all that shit up front, dude, because I'm afraid nobody will even listen to me.
Sure.
Unless they know that I'm all right and that I'm cool to talk to with that stuff. But I go in and I launch into that, and I always am trying to answer the question of why. Like that, you always get to the part, and everybody else's presentations like this too. This number of people are dying of suicide. This number of people are dying of overdose. Why is it hitting the construction industry so hard? And nobody can give anything that resembles an adequate answer. Mm-hmm. All they can do is say like a list of things that the industry does to people that makes it worse, like long hours, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Work away from home. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, why are so many people with these issues attracted to this industry?
Mm-hmm.
Or what is going on at that level?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you see, and it's sad, man, and it's a difficult conversation. But if the construction industry was sitting around the kitchen table, right, this would be like where dad needs to look at mom and say, we're abusing our kids.
Yes. And
that's why they're so effed up.
But I get why the abuse exists too, because the industry is so fragmented.
And you got to figure out a way
so
to balance
feast or
that.
famine. Yeah, but everybody's trying to get backlog. It's like I'm so deathly afraid of 2009 laying people off again that I need to get as much backlog as possible. It's human nature.
Yes.
It's like you see squirrels doing it before winter. Let me get as many nuts as possible because I don't know how bad winter is going to be. And so they're doing what they think is best. But because it's so fragmented, no one can push against it. Because you can't have subcontractors push against these bigger forces, owners or general contractors, because then it's, there's another guy there that's just going to do the damn job.
Right.
And I would rather do the job.
Right.
But it ends somewhere. Like it stops somewhere. And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
There's no kind of industry standard around mental health right now.
No.
There really isn't. What you have is you have a bunch of people like myself trying to throw it against the wall and see if it'll stick.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you don't really have like a go-to model. You don't have there's no like recommended specs, right? Like if you're doing certain things around physical health and safety, there's all these specs that you have to do. That's not how it works in mental health.
Yeah.
So as I was telling you earlier, one of the most fascinating things for me is the great variety of responses you get from the GCs and from other like large companies that are involved with this.
Yeah.
Some of them are all in, man. like we need, like I'll get a call and they'll be like, we need somebody on site in 4 weeks. I'll be like, 4 weeks? I've never seen anything in construction happen in 4 weeks. Like what? And then other times, dude, it's like nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I cannot for the life of me figure it out.
So what? You're seeing a lot of construction companies now. You're traveling nonstop, as much as I am. I mean,
Right.
you're on the road every
2 or
week
3
right
times
now.
a week.
Yeah, you're seeing a bigger cross section of the industry than most everybody. What are you seeing? Because you said, and I do want to talk a lot about solutions and where
Yep.
we can go. I don't want to just beat up on here's the issues, because I've done a lot of that, and I'm trying to
Yep.
be a little bit more progressive and productive. But you said it's worse. It's
yeah.
just bad. Like, how do you know
First
it's
of all,
bad?
the mental health issues and the stress level, and understand, like, this isn't. I'm not coming at this from a gender perspective, but I talk mostly to men.
Sure, because it's mostly men
Yes,
in the industry.
and I wind up also talking to a very specific demographic of men. I even tend to talk to more like middle-aged guys and stuff. So I'm talking to some grizzled old veterans that have been around for a little while, and they're beat up, dude. I don't know how else to say it. Yeah. They're broken, man. It's heartbreaking shit. I think it's like decades of just like living a life like that. Like, if people want to say, why is it so hard? Like, this is the thing that blows my mind. Why is construction so hard? I don't know. Look around.
Sure.
Like, it's hard for me to go witness some of this shit you got to do on a day-to-day basis. And I think about my life, and just use kids, for example. Let's talk about raising kids in the world we live in. Baseline, off-the-wall, stressful experience, Aaron. I know you don't have kids right now, but like you'll see what I'm talking about someday. It's just bizarre. It's not like when we grew up. Do you know what I mean? It's
Sure.
So you're walking around like that. Financial pressures and awareness of financial pressures from a psychological perspective are different than they've ever been. Constant news in the back of your head that the world's falling apart. Oil prices are going to go through the roof. So you're just walking around with this, and then you're going and doing that job.
Sure.
Where you're on a site where there's heavy equipment that could run you over any minute, where there's just like physically intensive labor, right? Demands. I think that it from a mental, here's what I think, Aaron. I don't think anybody's ever even looked at it. This is what I say to my guys that go to the data center sites. I say, guys, we are like people spelunking in a cave.
Sure.
We kind of know where we're going. We got these headlamps on. That's sort of like the existing mental health approaches that are out there. So we kind of have something to guide us through. But here's the problem. From a mental health perspective, nobody has even looked at this shit. And it is so intense. The way that they talk to each other. And I want to make sure I make it clear, it's all with this concept or idea of we got to get this job done. That's the other thing. A lot of it I admire. Does that part make sense?
Completely.
Where I come from, I grew up in the 80s and stuff. Like, that's the type of people that I was drawn to. Like, I played football. I was like the type of guy that was drawn to, like, let's get this stuff done. What I'm telling you, though, is that it is not working. It's not going to continue to work. And it is so psychologically stressful at a baseline level, even on a good day, that's where I don't think we recognize it.
It is interesting, even recognizing the stress. Like, even
I think you get used to it. People probably get used to it and don't even think about it.
Yeah. But yeah, you get used to that constant stress, but that doesn't take the stress away.
Right.
I feel like I feel like I've seen some videos with you guys talking about this.
That's exactly the truth.
Yeah, it still doesn't remove, even if you're used to it.
Yeah.
It still doesn't remove that. It's still poisonous in a sense. It's still eroding you as an individual, whether you've accommodated it or not.
Right.
And even like, yeah, it is a stressful job. And I think like more than ever, there's more financial pressure than ever. Inflation is beyond wage growth, which is a really, really bad sign.
This is big deal stuff too. Man.
Yeah. When my parents were coming up, average house was 1/7 of their income. Now it's 4/7 of your income. I'm 31. I can't even think about getting a house right now. And I make 6 figures, which is unbelievable, even 10 years ago. So cost of living is through the roof. You have a declining life expectancy for the first time ever. You have more people coming out of college with no career prospects than ever. Like, there are some big challenges, big issues going on right now.
Oh, for sure.
And then, yeah, you're in this construction world, and I'm trying to explain how the world has changed, not just big picture, but within construction. So in construction, like when my dad came up, he was at least probably exposed to the trades in some way. Like most of these grizzled guys, they came up around the trades.
Right.
Me, I show up on a job site at 18 years old. I don't get any kind of training whatsoever, and there is no training in construction. I have not seen it a single time. I don't care what people say.
Right.
I've not seen it. And you're basically just thrown to the wolves. And so you're in a stressful situation now with no training. And it's just like, one, you're trying to fit in.
Yep.
Because everybody's not all that friendly at first, especially, and sometimes not at all. Two, you're in a dangerous, fast-paced situation. You're trying not to get in the way. And then you're trying not to get killed.
Right. Right.
And then we're sitting around like, why are we struggling to attract people?
Right.
It's like, and that's where, this is where I am also, I'm almost ready to pull the chute on workforce problem and shortage.
Yeah.
I actually think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I actually think, and I've been the number one proponent of that message. I actually think that we're just not good enough.
Yeah.
We're just failing as an industry to develop the workforce we need. And we're playing victim.
Attract and retain.
Yes.
Talent. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're actually attracting a lot of young people, but under the age of 25, there's an 80% turnover rate.
Yeah.
80% turnover rate for people under the age of 25.
Yeah.
And we can sit here around it. We can sit at the bar and get drunk on scotch or whiskey and say, these kids just suck. And that's what we've been doing for a decade plus.
And that appears to be like what we're going to do.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? Like that seems to be the double down.
Nothing's changed. Yeah. This generation sucks even more. Even though they're the same age as my kids.
Right.
Even though it's my generation that raised these little shits.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
Go figure.
And it doesn't matter. They're coming. You know what I mean? Like you can say whatever you want. They're coming. Like you can look at that however you want and lament that all day.
Yes.
And I do think that there will be a demand for a different way to be treated.
There already is in market conditions.
Yes.
I already think that's happening.
Yes.
I think the next generation's coming in and being like, no, fuck this, man.
So this point right here, this is the part, because I totally understand. I've spent my whole career talking to people that say they want to do something about mental health, but really don't. From government officials to like treatment center operators to like, you know what I mean? Like that part of it's not different. Where I get upset is, can you not see this from a business standpoint?
Yeah.
Like you guys are clearly smart people. You built this amazing business doing these amazing things, right? Like buying pieces of equipment that'll cost more than anything I'll ever own. Mm-hmm. You're not a doofus here.
No.
Can you and like you said, workforce issue. If it's a workforce issue, any industry, Business 101 will tell you start with retaining your current workers.
Yep.
You start there and then you add, because you can't just keep bleeding people. It can't be this constant churn. Mm-hmm. Do they not see that? Like, is it just that? Like, do they think when they hear a person like me talk, and that's just that psychobabble bullshit that Rich is running?
No, I think they're forced to confront it right now because they can't get the workforce they need.
Right. They're not going to.
I think that's why everybody's talking to us right now is not necessarily, I don't want to say it's because they don't want it, but because they don't, like, they're actually like, shit, I can't get the people I need. So maybe we do have to do something different here.
Yeah.
In a 500-person company, 500-person civil construction company, based on industry averages, it's costing them $17 million in turnover, in productivity, lost productivity, in rework, in equipment damage. And that's where I think it starts to materialize, is in those challenges. And we're starting to work on this further and further and further.
Do you think, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
please.
Like a dot to connect, do you think that they connect the dot between like what I wouldn't even use the term mental illness or mental health. I would say like even this basic, a happy worker is a more productive, is a more efficient, is a more accurate worker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do they get that type of stuff? Because that's where I actually think, like, a more mentally healthy person, and remind me, I want to talk about what the solution is over here, because that's part of the problem. We haven't given people a solution.
Yep.
But a more mentally healthy worker is going to get all that stuff.
Yeah, but I still think the gatekeepers are the previous generation that were raised like, just shut the fuck up and get it done. Like, I don't give a shit about your feelings, dude. Just get it done. You know, like I think that is
still there.
It's very
and for
much
another
there.
10 or 20 years probably.
I don't know, and that's kind of where I'm at too. I think the whole United States
like,
of
how
America.
old is this guy? I wonder.
I mean, I'm sure probably 30s if I had to guess.
So he's going to be around for a minute.
Yeah, but I think it's like we're almost in a way held hostage by the boomers right now. Our whole country is being held hostage by the boomers.
Yes.
Real estate, the entire economy, voting, like it's a problem. But I think it's this generational difference that is, you're still, the decision makers are still the suck it up, just get it done mentality, which had its place.
Yes.
That got us through wars. That built the interstate system. You know, it did get us here. And so I've learned to change my messaging. I'm not criticizing that, but it so clearly doesn't work anymore. Like, you have all these blinking red lights on the wall. It so clearly doesn't work anymore. And no one has argued that point to me. No one has said, no, you're wrong. So that's how I know it's right. Because I've said this publicly more than anybody. So they know it's wrong, but I think where I think it actually gets better is, or I think the problem is the leadership, they haven't handled their shit.
Oh, it's so true.
And I think that's where it starts.
You mean like whatever they got baggage?
Yes. Yeah.
You can't help like when a person's gotten baggage, it'll come up in every conversation around these issues.
It's there. It's a shadow following you around no matter how much you run. And so that, like, I've seen this. I've seen in construction, you have the traditional messaging about mental health. That is, we need to talk about it. Now, me, Aaron, a laborer, operator on the job site, foreman, I don't know what the fuck that means. What do you mean, talk about it? And how do I talk about it? Who do I talk to it about?
So true.
What do I talk about?
I
don't even know what that means, but I'll see these executives, especially from the GC side of things. And I don't mean to beat up on the GCs, but that's where it comes from for the most part. They'll be reading from a teleprompter. It'll be a really nice message. It's perfect.
Like we love linguistically. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. We need to care for one another. Your health and wellness is our number one priority. All the same shit that everybody else says, but it doesn't at all come through as genuine.
No, man.
Or you can have people like you that get up on stage and start with being like, you know, I'm fucked up like you guys.
Dude, I go, let me tell you this story real quick. So I go, I won't talk about where this was. We go to, like, it's a large job site that we're part of, and it's like safety week, all right? And they're doing, and I'm in there. I decide I'm personally going to go from the Bill Wells side and give our talk, because it's your standard safety week kind of scene. Picture like 2,000 people. Somebody talking about fall prevention, somebody talking about don't get electrocuted. Then the mental health guy comes up. Well, they're all doing lunch and stuff like this while they're doing it, right?
Which is the worst time to talk.
Nobody's listening to anything anybody said. I mean, every single speaker that gets up there is just getting blown off. And I'm like, what are we doing here? So I get up there, and like one thing, I won't suffer fools. Like, I'm not going to do that. So when I get up on the mic, I go, y'all want to listen? There's a drug addict and an alcoholic talking to you. And when I said that, like, some people like calmed down. But my real point with this is there was zero impact from that. They didn't even set it up to make an impact.
Sure. But you saying that, but to even say that.
Well, you want to know what they came up to me afterward? It was so interesting to me. The people that clearly were like in charge of everything came up and talked to me afterward and like complimented me on doing that. And I'm there's such a disconnect between like I think some people actually think that the stigma reduction stuff works.
Yeah.
And when they saw me do something different, they were like, oh, wait, maybe there's another way to talk about this.
Sure. But they'll like it for you. But again, for them, I don't know. But like for you to even say that, it's simple, but it takes years and years and years
yes.
of digging deep.
Wouldn't have been able to do that 15 years ago.
Exactly.
20 years ago. Yeah, I wouldn't even have thought about it, to be honest with you.
Yes. Like I've had like a big thing for 4 years. My dad's not talked to me for 4.5 years now.
Yep.
I can talk about it pretty openly.
Yeah.
And people will feel more weird about it than me.
Yes.
Because it's like, is he okay about it? It's like, yeah, I've processed it at this point. It still bums me out.
Yep.
It still pisses me off sometimes, but I've processed it.
Yep.
And even before it happened, thank God I built the tools to process it, because I could have taken it in a completely other direction, and I could be drinking every night as a result. But I was able to be productive with it, and now I can talk about it. But when I talk about this stuff, that is the only thing that I've done that creates change in others, is when I go first.
And this part of it is so
door.
true too, because you'll hear, I don't know where this quote came from, but the greatest stigma reduction is helping another person get better. Mm-hmm. Like when people see, the other thing about the stigma reduction efforts the point I wanted to make is people will start to call bullshit on it too when they just hear it over and over again and they don't see anything else going on.
Yes.
So in other words, if your company, all you do is the annual Rich Jones comes in and gives the cool talk, they'll be cool with that one time. They'll be cool with that 2 times. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But like every year, now all of a sudden you're falling into one of those categories.
Sure.
And when when mental health awareness falls into that category, you never get it back out. You never pull it back out. It just becomes one of the bullshit months or one of the things that we do.
We're teetering on the edge of that right now as an industry.
Well, it sounds like from what this guy on Reddit's saying, and I've heard that.
I have too. I have this
because I'll kind of like chill and just sort of like talk to people afterward, and they'll tell you what's up. If you listen to these guys, they'll tell you what's up.
Sure.
The other point I want to make is, and this is, so I feel like the industry needs to have a real hard look at this stuff and get honest. And I do think that it needs to come from a safety perspective and from a business perspective, and then work our way into it's humanity. It's the right thing to do. But the other thing is, we have to acknowledge, those of us who do therapy, that there are other ways to help people that would work better in construction. And the way that we've done it to this point is 100% ass backwards and will never work. Yeah. What do I mean by that? There's a traditional model out there for all industries. It's called employee assistance programs. Mm-hmm. Employee assistance programs are built on one premise: a person recognizing they have a problem and calling to get help for a problem. Mm-hmm. The problem could be anything from stress to deep end depression to I need to find a rehab, or I want to figure out where to board my dog, right? But it starts with a willing person calling. No one does that, Aaron. No one makes that call. Like statistically for addiction, it's about 6% of people will ever make that call. So everything about it is just, it's not going to work. Well, if you look at like other places where they've attacked similar problems, I'll give you another example of a workforce that was riddled with overdoses and suicides. It was emergency room doctors. So picture work, and I'm talking about somebody who's in an emergency room. That's their job. Mm-hmm. It's a similar experience, maybe even worse than construction, right? Like constant action, constant stress, life and death type stuff. Well, they looked at these guys, they looked at like what worked with these guys, and what they found was a single 15-minute interaction one time a week made the difference. It was widely published, replicated study at the national level. It's a commonly referred to counseling practice called brief intervention. My argument is that we have a solution. Build Well Health has a solution, and I don't know if other companies do or not, but we have an evidence-based, proven solution that worked with another group of hurting people. Yeah. So we don't have to take people off the job site for an hour-long session.
Sure.
We can get it done in a 15-minute conversation at the smoker's pole. We can get it done in a truck riding across from like Stretch and Flex back to the lunch tent. Does that make sense? Like the problem also is we have got to tell the industry, here's a way to do it that makes more sense to the industry. What we've done to this point is we've taken this cookie cutter solution and said, here it is, and the industry has voted with their feet, right?
Yeah.
I'm never talking to those people.
But I don't blame them. Like
I don't either.
That's why we've offered what you guys have for years within our business.
Yep.
Is we have great insurance. I would never call the insurance for help with this. Ever.
Nobody does.
Ever.
It's weird.
It is. Yeah, it's a disaster. And so, but because I think we've always offered what you guys have to offer is because our leadership believes in it.
Well, that's the key part, if you want to be honest, because you could see that live and in living color. It just screams like,
yes,
if you got the right people.
And so, but this is, I think, a problem is that you have these companies and these leaders from a different generation. And I'm not blaming. I'm not saying they're out like to be bad people. I really don't. I haven't met very many bad people in construction. They're everywhere, but I haven't met very many.
Right.
They know they need to do something about people. And so they go outsource it, quote unquote. They go hire somebody in safety. They go hire somebody in employee wellness, learning and development. And I'm not criticizing these people either, but oftentimes they're not even from the industry.
Right.
And it doesn't make anything better. It makes, I would say, things worse.
Oh, and that's exactly what they do with us, right?
Yes. That's
exactly what you do.
Let me just hire Rich.
Yep.
And, okay.
Yep. And the problem is then what happened for my industry was we just exacerbated all that because we fell right into it. And I see it. I have had absolutely comical experiences. See, one of the things that's going to happen with Build Well Health is you're going to see a little bit more of an aggressive messaging. And it's very strategic, and it's no different than what we did when we attacked the opioid epidemic back in the day. You got to get in there, you got to figure out what's going on, but then when your thesis, when it's proven true, you need to aggressively attack this. And so like we got to get in there and we got to start really, really pushing on people to do the next thing. And here's what's interesting, like, so you have like this model, you have this behavioral health model that's called brief intervention that works. And we're seeing how that works. And then we also have seen, and again, all you have to do is borrow what they do in other industries, that there's actually a way to train foremen. This is brand new stuff from the Build Well end. Because where we started saying is these foremen are in this weird position, man, where they're kind of like, whether they want to or not, they're half counselors.
That's the most influential position in construction.
And they have like what I would consider like very therapeutic conversations. I don't care what anyone wants to say. Like they tell me about these, then the guy told me this, and then the guy told me about his wife, and then she had an affair, and I'm just sitting in the truck with my guy, and we got to focus on those people. Does that part make sense?
Yeah.
And help them. Then you'll start to see, like, I feel like there's a pathway finally. Why I'm excited is after kind of like looking around out here in the dark, you can then see this, we can absolutely impact this.
And this is exactly where we are as a business too. I don't think with our messaging, and that's why we have Dirt World.
Yeah.
It starts and ends with that room of people with leadership.
Yep.
And unfortunately, again, you have an older crowd in charge of the industry right now still. And as you get older, I don't know if you've seen this and it proves to be true, but I feel like you're less likely to handle shit.
Oh, for sure.
And so like the odds of you actually figuring things out are less and less as you get older and older. Like the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like it's a saying for a reason.
Yes.
So there's part of that, but I think it starts with leadership and starts with buy-in, but then it goes to the field and that crew leader, that foreman level individual, giving them skills and giving them the ability to even have these conversations. Like saying we need to talk about it does not do anything. It's like, we need to go build this road, but there's no set of plans.
Right.
There's no material. There's no equipment, nothing.
Right.
Well then, like, what? Where do you want me to build the road?
Right.
How do I build the road? What do you, how big's the road need to be?
Right.
So you have to give them that plan set to even be able to navigate this on top of building a job, on top of everything else they're dealing with.
And it has to be a realistic plan set.
And it has to be realistic.
Because I feel like that's the part where, again, if I want to call out how we've offered support, by we, I mean the therapy world, it's got to be realistic. It can't be like Aaron's going to call this therapist and set up an appointment at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to go down like that.
Sure.
We found out something interesting. One of the things that we started to do were these on-site data center mental health clinics. So picture like a trailer for the medical stuff, and then you have 1 or 2 mental health oriented folks in the trailer as well. And we instituted this brief intervention model. And in the first quarter of 2026, we did 497 brief interventions.
Wow.
Now, this is a large job site. So you're talking about
thousands of people.
4,000 people, whatever. But what I love about that is if you just reframe the way you think about it, and you go from saying, we are going out to the job. You know what I mean? We're going out with the medics. We're going out to the smokers pole. We're having lunch every day in that tent. That's the stuff. Now, that type of model is brand new. So to give the industry, the construction industry, credit, I don't think people even know. I don't think anybody knows something like that even exists. Does that, you know what I mean?
Well, and you've had to create it in a way as well.
And we've had to literally invent it. And we finally feel like, I hope this part makes sense. I finally feel like I see it loud and clear.
I do too, from our angle.
Yeah.
But it took us this long. I think it took us this long of studying it. But then timing is everything as well.
Right.
This could not have happened in 2019.
No, dude, no.
Even a few years ago.
That part's really interesting.
Yes.
And it's what's fascinating to me, and this is almost like it's become like a side hobby where I've become semi-obsessed with the data center build specifically. I can't figure out why some people contact us, some people don't. It's as random as can be. And I think it goes back to your point around leadership. The healthier the leadership is, the more likely they are to probably recognize we need to take action, and decisive action.
Yep.
And this is an observation I made. I don't actually think it's a money issue at all. I think it's a time. I think it's one of these things where I'll give you an analogy. Years ago, we were approached by Clemson University. We tried to start something on the campus. There were some issues that were going on, and we were finally told that if we acknowledge this problem and we have to do something about it, then this is going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of training. This is almost like we're better off just saying, I've often wondered, because it's not a money thing. It's not cutting. It's like, do we want to actually jump into that mental health pool?
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm speaking about this, it's funny because if you get healthier physically, mentally, you benefit first.
Everyone knows this,
and that's the
and
thing.
the company benefits, and everyone. Do people think we're making that up?
It's the single best thing I've done as a human being. I'm physically healthy, and my mind is healthy.
Yeah,
and it ebbs and flows. Of course, I go through. Like even a few weeks ago, I was just down for a few days.
Yep.
But I have the tools to recognize it, and I can't necessarily do anything about it. But it's like I'm sad today. This is like borderline depression today.
Yes. Yep.
But I can identify it. And then I'm not trying to run from it. I'm just like, okay, cool.
But knowing you have one this is where I always go with the mental health stuff is it's not about going out and getting a therapist today. It's not about going out and getting a psychiatrist. Do you have any one core thing that you can do that will relieve stress? And for you, it's exercise probably.
Well, it's doing my routine.
It's your routine.
Yes. I'm still going to eat well. I'm still going to exercise. I'm still going to try to sleep well.
And I'm going to follow this approach no matter what.
No matter what. Yeah. That's powerful. That is so powerful. Being able to, regardless of conditions, just
because you can control that.
Yeah, and I even talked about I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were saying somebody's feeling unmotivated, and they're like, what do you do when you're unmotivated, or you're never unmotivated? And it's like, I'm unmotivated
all the time.
People
say that to me all the time. Yeah.
But I don't care.
Yeah.
I've still got to get up and get it done.
Yeah.
And I've built that sense of discipline and sense of execution within
Yeah.
me, because I know that I've got to do it regardless, because it gets me to the other side.
Right. And what else am I going to do?
Yes.
Well, people will be like, I don't understand how you travel like that. I don't understand how you're doing that. And I'm like, I don't really know what you mean by that. Like,
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm doing it, but like, I want to make it clear. I'm not thrilled. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
but-
I'm kind of dragging myself through this on any given day.
And so, but here, I think this goes to why society is struggling so much, is because it's, well, if you're feeling bad, you need more self-care and you need more bubble baths and, oh, you've got to go hang out
Yes.
and eat a pizza and this and that. It's like, I don't buy into any of that shit,
Right.
man. Like, sure, you've got to rest.
Right.
But that's not the human condition. We
Not
didn't
at all.
evolve for tens of thousands of years hanging out.
Right.
This is new within like the past 50 years.
Right.
Our grandparents lived in a completely different world. And so like that, we evolved with struggle. And if you remove that sense of struggle and sense of work,
Yeah.
it's dehumanizing in a way.
So I think that and I think that's also part of this larger conversation around construction. And if you really want to split hairs, it's what we're talking about, because that is the great thing about being a construction worker, in my opinion. Like, I only ever did it in the summertime, and I was never anything other than like a grunt. Do you know what I mean? Like, my brother builds houses, that kind of stuff. But like, I would think building something's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to look at something in that sense of accomplishment and that sense of hard work, you can't get rid of that. That has got to be part of the solution.
Yes.
It just has to be reframed in a way. And this is also where we, on the therapy side, need to reframe how we talk about it. Like, we had one of the services we offer, a workplace fatality. If somebody, is killed in an accident, we show up. And we just had one several months ago, and we go, and they also had another EAP provider there. So you have us on site, and we're out in the world. This other EAP provider, which is a national provider, probably you could make an argument the largest EAP in the country, they sat in the office. We said, do you want to come along?
Sure.
And she seemed like a wonderful therapist. Do you follow me? Like,
bet.
I feel like I could probably do great in therapy with her. PhD, all that stuff, checks all the boxes. Would not leave her office.
Yeah.
This is like where it can't be like, oh, you're not allowed to talk about hard work and people could just come see a therapist all day, every day, anytime they need. You know what I mean? That's not going to work.
Well, and this is where this goes into, and this is a sacred cow that you cannot challenge, is safety as well, and all of the safety
Truth.
rules within the construction
Yes.
industry.
Yep.
The rules have sterilized the industry,
Yeah.
and again made it inhuman.
Yeah.
And I go to a lot of places. These data center projects are some
Yeah.
of them. I would never work there. Because
man.
it's like, we just want you to be a number and a robot.
Yeah.
Don't you dare think for yourself. Don't you dare be creative. Don't you dare problem solve.
Right.
Just follow the damn rules.
Right.
Just show up and do your job.
Yeah.
And once we can replace you, we probably will with robot dogs or whatever. But
Yeah.
until then, we need you here. But
Oh,
we're gonna
man, dude, it just feels
wrap
so-
you in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything. I've been around enough big operations to see that.
Yeah.
But it ultimately still boils down to leadership, because I've been to big operations within a big company that feel completely different. So it's the same name
Right.
on the door.
You're exactly right. I've seen that too.
And
Yep.
it's really interesting. It's
Yep.
like, because it'll be surprising to me. Like, wait a minute, I thought this was the whole company.
Yeah.
But it's actually, some of it's coming from the company, but a lot of it's different here.
Well, if you really want to talk about a sacred cow, and this is the type of thing you got to be careful. Like, and I have no problem talking about it, but it's the kind of thing that people could take the wrong way, and it's not meant to be offensive. It's just the truth. Like, one of the reasons, I believe one of the things that gets in the way of having these difficult conversations about mental health is what I would call like functional drinking. Okay.
Yeah.
Not alcoholic. Hear me loud and clear. I'm not saying anybody's an alcoholic. This isn't people getting a DUI or whatever, but we live in a world where people they don't see the difference between these two things.
Sure.
They think if you're talking about substance misuse, you know what I mean? Like, there's either people who are alcoholics or people who don't, so we don't have to worry about that. But if you're a person who likes to drink, I'm just going to throw numbers out there. If you like to drink 5 or 6 beers a day, And I would argue there's a lot of people who probably like to do that.
A lot of people. Yeah.
When a person like me comes into your world and starts talking and we start digging into it, you start hearing things like any amount of alcohol is bad. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Like, alcohol is not the best way to deal with stress. Like, there's a messaging that hits these people in the heart, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And as a formal, like, functioning alcoholic, I didn't want to hear it. Do you know what I mean? And like, in an industry with high stress, I always say alcohol is the one thing that took away stress more effectively than anything. You know that there's a whole bunch of that going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably makes these conversations really difficult.
But this is the tricky place. One, I'm not going to think I have a problem because I'm not beating my wife. You know, it's like, well, I don't beat my wife.
Yeah.
I'm not getting DUIs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a problem. I can
Right.
handle it. I show up to work. It's no problem.
Right.
I didn't really think about this until I polled people on my Instagram, thousands of people. If you smoke, why do you smoke? Because it's so obvious it's bad for you.
Yeah.
So why are you doing it? And I think previously, frankly, I was like, these people are stupid.
Yeah.
Why are they smoking?
Why they're willfully doing this.
They're so dumb.
Yeah.
But I asked in a genuine way, why are you smoking? And it was number one, to get a break from the day.
Yes.
Two, to relieve stress.
Yes.
And so as an industry, we can say, or as an employer, I can be like, well, it's not my fault my people are functioning alcoholics. That's not my business.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, but are the conditions I'm creating within the workplace making that happen or facilitating that?
Are the conditions so intense that I need to go? So all I can think about whatever time rolls around, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time I'm done with work, is getting back to that RV camp and drinking 8 to 12 beers to check out.
Yeah.
And like, that is a thing, man. That's a real deal issue.
I've worked around those guys.
Yep.
I've worked around those guys, especially the traveling guys.
Yes.
Because they're not going home to a family.
Shit, no.
They're going home to themselves.
You can say whatever you want, and you could be, you know what I mean? And again, so what we did was we set up this weird system where unless you're driving a truck into a tree, we really don't have to talk about this, and we're not going to talk about it. Like, and where I know I'm getting it right is a lot of times I'll notice the temperature in a room change when I say this, because I'll say it out loud. Like, in our sales process, I'll get to a point where I'm meeting like a CEO or somebody who doesn't really know me or anything, or doesn't know the backstory, and I have to quickly like get that off the table. So I've learned how to front load it. I'll say things like, and just to let you know, we're different, man. Like, we don't even believe people need to quit drinking. We believe it's something you should talk about.
Sure.
Because I'm so conscious of that issue.
Well, and it's at the executive level just as much as it is at the field level.
Hell yeah, it is.
I've seen it.
And the stress is at that level too. And again, like, why do people drink? Some people wind up drinking because they become physically dependent on it, or it becomes like, I believe I developed like an alcohol dependency, but I think way before I developed an alcohol dependency, it was the best stress reliever I ever came up with.
It's a medicine in a way.
And you could do it publicly with other people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all right there, and they're also doing it.
It's fun.
Everybody's doing it, right? We're all collectively relieving our stress from the day. Like, that was the stuff, man.
Sure.
And I'm coming into your company as Joe, Mr. Therapy Guy, kind of threatening that. You know what I mean? It's not an explicit conversation, but that's the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what people need to understand is that's not, you've been told the wrong thing about all of this and how this works. Those aren't the people that we're looking for. Of course we'll help, but we feel like we just need to have a conversation. It's, to your point earlier, talking about this. It's not about labeling anybody. It's not about any of that stuff.
But even with alcohol, to your point, I've talked a lot about alcohol because I grew up in a household with alcoholism in it. And I haven't drank in 2.5 years.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with it.
Yep.
Frankly, I got so healthy that I was like, why am I intentionally poisoning myself?
That's a very good point.
And so it was setting me back. I was putting so much time and energy into my body that when I drank, I was down.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I intentionally doing this to myself? So that's why I stopped. But
oh, that's good.
and it's actually been very easy to stay that way because it's like And I have a great time when I drink.
Yeah.
Awesome time.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just not worth the trade-off to me anymore. There's a deeper why to not drinking for me from a health standpoint. But when I talk about it, everybody has an experience with alcohol somewhere.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
So not even drugs, not even suicide, not even all these other topics. You just talk about alcohol.
Right.
It's touched everybody.
Right.
Everybody in some capacity. I have not met a single person that's like, I just can't relate.
And it's been so butchered in terms of how we deal with it and stuff. Like nobody knows how to talk about it. We have such like an unhealthy way of viewing alcohol and dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of like that old school Calvinistic sort of out of sight, out of mind.
And you know what I've reflected a lot about this as well is I'm careful with how I talk about it now because it involves somebody else in my family.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's their thing.
Yeah.
But I was in the house too.
Right.
And so it's like, well, it's my experience too, but I don't want to be painting them like this terrible person either.
But it's a real part of the story.
It's a real part of the story, and they have their story. I have my story.
Yeah.
And so I believe I should be entitled to talk about my story.
Yes.
And talking about my story helps me process it and helps me overcome it. And I'm grateful for it. I couldn't be more grateful for the experience at this point. Thank God I had it.
Right.
Which sounds crazy because during, holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But now, as I've gotten older and older and older, and as I've processed it, I'm like, thank God I had that.
Yeah.
I'm just more and more grateful for it.
Right.
But I've had to talk about it. And so but it's this dance. It's like,
it's because, I mean, if you look at it, it's so butchered the way that we've handled it. So you look at terms or words. So words are important, and you can really they reveal things about the cultural zeitgeist and about about psychology, collective psychology of any given group. And a good example are political campaigns. So Rich and Aaron are running for president.
Yeah.
They hook up all these electrodes to you, and people react to Aaron when he's talking in a certain way, and they react to Rich in a certain way, and we can tell who's winning or who's more better received, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you can do that with words too. So they hook people up to these machines, and they start asking them words, and they did alcoholic and addict. And when they did alcoholic and addict fell into the same category as words like Hitler, pornography, rapist, murderer. Yeah. So just those words engender a reaction inside the normal person in Western society of like, ooh, that person, run the other way.
Sure.
And the problem is, think about how the world works. We don't talk about drugs or alcohol unless we label a person an alcoholic or an addict.
Yeah.
You don't get help unless you go to rehab. When I went to get better, like when I finally got into recovery, dude, it was a requirement for me to refer to myself as an alcoholic or an addict. Mm-hmm. Do you get that? It wasn't like an option.
Sure.
That's bizarre, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never run a program that ever requires anybody to say anything like that. But I'm an exception to the rule. Like, that's crazy, man.
Well, but what's crazy is putting humans in boxes.
Right, because people don't fit.
Yeah, no one fits, but we like to compartmentalize, and we like to sort, and we like to, well, what team are you on? Yeah. Are you an alcoholic or are you not an alcoholic? Okay, cool. Now I can segment you.
Dude. The other thing it does is it allows a great number of people to look at their situation and say, we don't have to worry about the alcohol or drug thing. We're not living under a bridge.
Sure.
Do you get that part? Like, and they create, it's the us versus them kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. Like, one of the things that drives me crazy, when the opioid epidemic hit, people were dying. Somebody would die, and it would always be, people would be like, he was a good kid from the good side of the streets. And I'd be like, what does that even mean, man?
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't die, but the people over here should die. Like, it creates this really bizarre like way of thinking about what is a healthcare problem.
Sure. Yeah, but yeah, again, that just makes it more. humans, we like to assume we understand the world around us.
We have to, right?
Yes.
It's too anxiety producing.
It's too anxiety producing.
Yeah.
If I don't control my destiny and my world and my life. But the people that I found I enjoy talking to the most are the ones that are like, I don't control shit, man.
That's because they're tapping into the matrix. Have you? I don't know if you've seen any of the new stuff or any of the new work that's out around severe autism.
No.
Listen to this stuff. This is wild. So people can't really understand what's going on for a person who has autism. You know, it's like, why is this happening? Like, they're clearly there. There's intelligence, all that kind of stuff. Well, the newest theory is that people who are autistic actually are processing the world in its completeness.
Wow.
They don't have the filter. And so what you get is it's unmanageable because you get too much information at once.
No shit.
Rules aren't there.
Well, in that.
So like you said, we have to have rules for this stuff.
Yeah.
He's an alcoholic. She's not.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't, it'd be too much.
This is how you behave.
Yep.
This is what's socially acceptable. Even with the autism thing, I think it is increasing, but also way overly diagnosed right now.
It's exploded.
It's like ADHD.
Yes.
ADD.
Yeah.
Oh, the kid's just hyperactive. It's
That's
like,
right.
Isn't it just a kid
Right.
that doesn't go outside?
Right. What came
That has to
first,
sit in
the
a classroom?
diagnosis or the meds? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and so you're going to drug the kid up for having energy, but it's like, but that's what makes kids so extraordinary, so
Right.
beautiful. Like, because they're just going all the time.
Right.
Before society gets a hold of them and kind of beats them down. Like, submit, put yourself in that box, behave. Like, I've thought a lot about this because I want to be somebody that actually creates change.
Right.
And it's weird because society at every corner is trying to put you in a damn box. But the people that do anything significant are the ones that say, no. You have to push back though at every turn.
And it's really hard to push back.
It's really hard.
It's so
and
much
exhausting.
easier. It would be like, I'll give you an example from my world. Like when it comes to setting up a business, and I have kids that like to eat every once in a while. So I still have to find a way to put food on the table. I could walk into a highly successful business setting up rehabs. Even in the construction industry. I know how to do it. I've done it a million times. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like a cookie cutter kind of thing. It'll add zero value to society.
Yeah.
It'll help some people that walked into the door of that particular place. But I'm not interested in that because it's too in the box. But as soon as you start trying to push outside of there and say things like there are other solutions other than rehab, now there's no box for you to be in.
Sure.
And it's really hard. And I don't know if you guys, people don't even know how to pay for us.
Yeah. Well,
like what budget, what line item are we in? Are we in wellness? Are we in training? Are we in, are we a health benefit?
But that's where we've struggled is they put us into a box, into the training box, but it's like, no, we're creating, this is a different category.
Yeah.
And I know that's a dumb thing to say.
Yeah.
But we are creating something different here.
Right.
And it takes some education. It's taken some education for us even to understand what we are.
Right.
To explain it to ourselves.
Right.
And I think we're just getting there. We started in 2018.
Yeah.
It's 2026.
Right.
And like we're just starting to figure it out.
Yeah. But it's something more than train. Here you go.
Training
have at it. Good luck.
It's not.
That's the thing on our end too. Like one of the frustrations where I think we're from a mental health perspective, this would be a bad outcome. If people think that all you need to do is bring in a trainer, that's not going to be good. Like
no,
we started a model, and these are with companies that we already work with, and we're piloting it. But like for those foremen, we'll train them. But then what's more important than the training is they can call us with a question and be like, we're worried about Joe.
Sure.
What do I do?
Yeah.
So, but I think the training stuff is where a lot of people are leaning.
Yeah. And this, what you were saying earlier too, is I was thinking about it today on my run. Like, man, it would just be easier some days to just roll over and it would be more lucrative. I would make more money.
Yeah.
It would be easier.
Oh, no doubt.
And I would make more money. But it's not the right thing to do
Right.
I know it's not the right thing to do.
Right.
And if I do it, I'm done, man.
Right.
My whole life, just throw it away
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
And so because I'm aware of it, I have to go in this. It's within me for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, why? I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't need to explain it though.
How do you explain
it's there.
that? I have an explanation for that.
Well, that's where religion's really helped me.
That's where I would go with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because what else? What other explanation other than it was put there by God?
That's it. That's the thing that's made the most sense to me.
It's kind of the only thing it does.
It's the only thing that does. But there's everybody wants an explanation. Like why?
Right.
Like,
Some
I don't
kind
know.
of like scientific explanation. The neurons all like aligned in a certain way.
Or my dad took me here when I was a kid.
Right.
You know, something.
You were early on influenced by this.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, more linear. Like,
Yes.
oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm
Right.
like, I don't know, man. My dad was a lawyer. Like, I shouldn't be here.
If you've ever, that feeling that you have, like, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's a real thing. Yeah. I call it like, I feel like I'm bent in a certain direction. And for me, it was when I jumped out of the rehab world. So this would be about 14, 15 years ago. Very successful, everything going great. But the opioid epidemic hits Western Pennsylvania. People start to die, and the system's response to this is so glaringly horrible. Like absolutely horrible things happening. Like kids getting, not kids, but like young men, young women getting kicked out of treatment, dying in hotels, you know what I mean? Because the model was not ready for this at all.
Yeah.
And I just, that's when this feeling came over me. I was in Asheville, North Carolina, and my kids and my wife were inside the hotel, and I was like, I'm drawn. There's something here, man. I'm not making this up, dude. This is 100% true. I'd never thought about the Carolinas or anything like that. Within 6 months of that, I was starting a nonprofit in Greenville, South Carolina, called Faces and Voices of Recovery. I was the founding CEO. A new model under this theory. It was I found like-minded people who thought the same way, and that's the crazy. But that's where I know I'm in the right space. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what I have followed out.
Yeah.
Through this process.
Yeah, but that's what has given me a profound sense of peace.
Yes.
Over the past few years is knowing that, like, I have no idea how this is going to work out. I am not in charge of it one bit, but I know I'm exactly where I should be.
Yeah.
And I could not trade that feeling for anything.
No, it's really cool.
Yes.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it doesn't make it easier.
No, and it's also cool to like be a person who's saying this isn't right. Like I never thought of myself like that at all. Like I never in a million years back in the day would have thought I'd have been like an activist kind of personality. But I am very much drawn to like, we're not doing this. I'm not going to be part of the problem.
Yeah, and that's not me either. Like people are like, wow, you're so good at communication.
Yeah.
You're so outgoing. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
That's not
like,
me at all. I'm just looking around and I'm like, fuck, okay.
This doesn't make any sense.
I guess I'm the one to say it. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm saying anything crazy here, but no one else is saying it. So, okay, I'll say it. And for whatever reason, I have this, if everybody's going in one direction, I have this allergic reaction to it. And sometimes it doesn't serve me. But if everybody's swept up in something, I'm like, hold on.
But how
a second.
many things in society have we been 100% sure this is the way to do it? But like the classic example I always talk about in medicine was this man, Ignaz Semmelweis. He's in the Scandinavian countries. He this is like late 1800s going into the 1900s. There was no such thing as germ theory back then.
Yep.
There was no antiseptic method. You did not wash your surgical instruments.
Yeah,
before you just went in there, got it cut off. Next person, get it cut off. And this dude said, like, wait a minute, I think people are dying because of these things called germs. We should at least wash our hands and wash our instruments. It took 75 years.
Yeah.
From the time he said that to actually it becoming standard practice.
And he was ostracized for it.
And he went crazy. He was in a mental institute.
Yeah.
He was ostracized. What's interesting to me is, and you'll hear like a person like Elon Musk says this too, like if something's important enough, you got to do it whether or not you're going to be sure what the outcome is anyway.
Yeah, and that's I think where my passion comes from for construction is like, listen, this is the foundation of humanity.
Yeah.
This is essential. We've got to get this right. This is way more than money. This is the future. And
Literally.
This is the world that my kids will live in.
Yep.
So this is dead fucking serious to me.
Yes.
And we're like, again, going back to, I think safety is the one topic that you just can't, it's the one sacred cow that you cannot touch in construction.
Yeah.
And yet when we were going to coffee, like I didn't even know this until Randy brought it up, but we've killed kind of as many people every year in the construction industry since 2007.
Yeah.
And we've got way more rules. We're spending billions of dollars on safety. You can't go to a single job site with them giving you the same spiel that I've heard 1,000 times at this point.
Yeah.
That I kind of just rolled my eyes out. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
yeah,
That you're gonna get.
I could give this talk better than you, man.
Yeah.
Like I've heard it so many times.
Yep.
And yet we still have the same outcome. And so for me, it's like, is this really the way to do it? And so we're injuring as many people, or we're killing as many people that we have for 20 years. There's times that by 15. That's how many people are dying by suicide and drug overdose in the construction industry.
Yep.
Times that by 15. That's a big problem. And we can't get the workforce we need.
Right. It's a crisis.
So are we going to do something about it? But again, thank goodness that there are companies out there that are doing something about it.
Yeah, and that is the truth.
And they're starting to win big.
Yes.
And that's what gets me excited.
Yes.
I want to double down with those companies. I want them to do as good as ever before. I want them to and that's what I tell people too. If your job sucks, leave it. Go to another construction company. If they're treating you like shit, go somewhere else.
Right.
Vote with your feet.
Right.
Vote with your 40 hours, 60 hours, whatever it is. And that's happening. And so let's go double down on the companies really doing it right.
And you can see like what's interesting, I think that you're right, it is happening. But I will tell you, it's still fascinating to see how much it's not happening.
Well, again, because
you know what I mean? Like,
you have these big interests that everybody's just like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. I'll bow down to you. $1 billion contract. Holy shit. We've never had anything even close to this. Yes, sir. Whatever you want. Yes, sir. Schedule 4 months. We thought it would take 12. Whatever you want.
We got it. We're going to do it. Yeah.
We got
it. That's exactly
right.
We got
it. And then they're like, well, you did it in 4. Why don't you do the next one in
also,
2?
Actually, that's exactly what's going down. Because here's the other thing. That's why I will get a call and it'll be like, can you stand up a mental health clinic in 4 weeks? Mm-hmm. Nobody ever asked me to do anything in 4 weeks. Do you follow me? Like, that's never been a conversation. It's a sales cycle that's really long.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to talk to multiple people and stuff. So what I'm thinking is that there will be people within any given hierarchy, and they will grab onto the mental health stuff.
Sure.
And if they grab onto it, boom, they're going to want Bill Well Health. You know what I mean?
But I think, again, those people that grab on, they are healthy themselves.
That has got to be the explanation. It's the only explanation. Or the other explanation is, and I've been given this by some people in the industry, those people that are calling you rich had something happen.
They've had something happen, or they might be struggling, but like a child died from overdose or something like that. Like something bad happened around them.
Yeah.
And scared the shit out of them.
Yeah. We're going to go after it. Like, we're going to actually like go from just kind of like sitting back and waiting to see. Like we've taken a look at it, and it's a viable business. It's a challenge from a staffing perspective.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these places are very, very isolated. Interestingly, not all of them. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that blows my mind. Some of these data centers, dude, are like right in your backyard.
Yeah.
Some of them are in the middle of like, if I let you out of the truck, you die of starvation.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you could walk for like 40 miles that way and not find anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird, man. No, all over the place, just balls to the wall, trying to get them built.
Yeah.
I've heard things that like, I'm not even sure if they're like occupied. You know what I mean? Some of the ones that are built, are they even occupied?
I don't know, but I've had nothing but problems with them.
Yeah.
And so I was even invited out to one this week, and I said, nope, I'm good. And they're like, no, you don't understand. I'm like, no, I do understand.
Yeah.
I don't want to touch that shit with a 10-foot pole, man.
Yeah.
I don't want any part of it.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's a shame because the work's incredible and there's amazing people out there.
Yeah.
but there's just so much nonsense around them that I don't want anything to do with them.
Nonsense is an interesting word. Yep.
Yeah. From the GCs, but even I don't want to villainize the GCs. Oftentimes it's the customer.
I think that's what's going down, dude. I think, yeah, and it's real secretive.
Oh yeah. It's real secretive. Yeah, and it's like, why? Why is it so secretive?
And you joke about it.
Why do you not want to
like,
talk about this?
Yeah, but what's interesting from my perspective? So, like, I go to a lot of them in like some of these small towns, right? I haven't personally run into any of the community fervor yet. I actually hear it in my hometown, which isn't a site that I have anything to do with. But I keep waiting for that to go down, but I haven't been exposed to that.
And it's starting to get pushed against
pretty hard, man.
Pretty hard. And they have a big messaging problem now. And it's like, you guys have done this to yourselves. I've seen mining do it. I've seen
fast.
all these other heavy industries do it. You go hide behind your fence.
Yeah.
You stir up a hornet's nest. You don't do anything about it. It's like, I could be an asset here. I can actually help you guys.
Right.
I want to help you guys.
Right.
I want to be helpful.
Right.
I want to facilitate this, but it's that in itself is weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, why are they so weird about this?
Well, I think the answer would be they probably don't even know what they're doing, right? Like, they probably don't even really know what's going to happen. I mean, how could they even know? How could anyone know what this is going to do to anything?
I don't know. So I do want to bring the conversation home when it comes to solutions. We've talked about it, but I really want to hammer it home here. One, so why do you think this has entered the conversation? Because even 5 years ago, there wasn't talk about this in construction.
Right.
So one, why now?
I think the reason that you see it now is just society at large. I think you'll see it in a lot of other industries. I actually think you'll see this gravitate to things like the hospitality industry. Like, what happened is the opioid epidemic forced Americans to look at mental health and substance use disorder through a different lens, because for the first time, I'll just be straight, white suburban America was confronted with like young people dying and these crazy deaths. And all of a sudden people were looking at a problem that had just been buried for decades and decades and decades. So it had to start in society. I think that led to an industry like construction, where it was fertile ground for some of this stuff to be talked about.
Yeah.
And then there was some natural overlap between like subgroups like veterans, who are highly represented in construction. So you saw that group. They had awareness events. I think that, but then it took on a life of its own. And what happened was, whenever it took hold, it just took hold, man. And you saw everybody started talking about it.
Yeah, but that, again, that's when, for whatever reason, my antennas perk up and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Why is everybody talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing's changing. So like, that's where I start to get, that's what prompts this conversation.
Well, and this is the problem. This is also the uncomfortable part of the conversation, because I don't know the history of the construction industry's advocacy intimately, but it appears to me like that some groups popped up around the suicide issue first.
Yes.
Suicide awareness and prevention came first. And I think there were a couple nonprofits that were formed, and it became, I would argue, it got laid out there at the conferences and stuff, and it was laid on like a group that was very enthusiastic about that because of what was going on in society at large. You were talking to people who probably knew somebody from the neighborhood who overdosed on it. You know what I mean? Johnny's buddy from high school. If you'd have been trying to do this in the 1980s, I don't know if you'd have got anywhere with it.
Sure.
So, and I think that's why. But what is really interesting to me, because I just walked down a pathway that I had never heard about. Keep in mind that I am a behavioral health geek. It's what I read about. It's what I follow. I had never heard this before. What I don't understand is how it bled out of like the construction industry, and somebody like me got Because even though I'm exposed to blue collar work, right? Like my brother owns a construction company. And if you'd have said to me, like, Rich, substance use problems are bad in construction, I would have been like, no kidding.
Sure.
I would have never thought twice about it.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know how that happened, like how the info finally got out to people like me.
Yeah. I
But
don't
it
know.
took off, man.
But it did take off, which isn't. There's I think pros and cons to it. And with opiates specifically, I think a lot of times, even when I've brought it up, it's been dismissed as like, well, they're just drug addicts.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, sure, construction industry probably has a higher percentage of addicts working in it than a typical industry because it is seen as a lower rung career.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that. I think that's what
It
how
has
it's
historically
viewed.
been seen that
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, just by society. So okay, on a percentage basis, perhaps there are more addicts. However, I think a majority of those cases, it came from either acute an injury on the job or chronic pain
Yes.
that then manifests itself in a legal prescription for opiates.
Yeah.
That then creates an addiction, and then I think oftentimes it's like me getting pills from a buddy or somebody I know
Yeah.
because I don't want to go deal with a prescription. I don't want to go to the doctor.
Well, that
I don't have
part of
time for the
problem.
doctor.
Yep.
And then 126,
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Yeah. So, and keep him, there's no question that dynamic that you're talking about is 100% happening. Here, the problem is you'll never see official information telling you that because
No.
you can't definitively say that because when they look at like an overdose, if Rich overdoses and dies, they don't look at whether it was pills or not. They just look whether it was fentanyl or not.
Yes.
So-
Well, and there's even if you know, there's
Multiple things in there.
well, and you as a family, you're not going to be like, yeah, my dad overdosed,
Right.
and he passed away.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
you're not even probably going to talk about why, how. I've seen it talked some about, but there's even that.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, like.
Yeah, well, and think about the common scenario. I think my example actually is like very common in construction. In my case, I got hurt in a car accident.
Yeah.
I wind up in an emergency department. I'm okay, but I walk out of that emergency department with 120 Darvocet. Nobody says anything to me about. Now, for the record, I definitely had a problem with alcohol already, so I'm not going to sit here and play the poor me's and these bad doctors did it to me.
Sure.
But here's the reality, dude. I didn't know my way around pills. I had never taken them before. They weren't a thing in my high school. I probably would have if somebody would have offered them to me, but they just weren't a thing, dude. And so I go through that. Within 7 days, I'm physically dependent on these things. Yeah. Now, picture your average construction worker. And I'm going to work in an office. I'm not going on a job site. So I would say everything I'm talking about is magnified if you're going on a job site. So you're taking these to get rid of legit pain. You're now physically dependent when you don't have them. When I was doing my thing, I could go to a doctor and they would give me another script. What's changed is about 15 years ago, they developed this thing called the prescription monitoring program. You can't do that anymore. So now when the construction worker goes and he wants to get another script from the doctor says, nope. And he goes and does what you just said.
Yeah.
He calls his buddy. He doesn't realize his buddy got the prescription. And you could do an experiment tonight where you could go and Google pill press. You could buy a pill press off of Amazon, dude.
Sure. And it can look legit.
And they look legit.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I am not a weak-willed person. I have always, my whole life, been the type of person who just does what he says he's going to do. But these things grabbed a hold of me. I can't even begin to explain it, man.
And how long was it?
Within 7 days, dude.
Yeah, but total.
Oh, it was 18 months of hell.
18 months.
18 months. Probably closer to 20 months, actually, if I want to get real.
And you were working the whole time.
And I was working the whole time. I had 3 young
Yeah, you were a
children.
father, yeah.
And I never bought a pill. This is what people need to understand. I never bought a pill from the street. I just got them from doctors the whole time. And I never thought for a minute that this is like addictive behavior. You know, even when I was spinning out, I still in my head thought this is just a mismanaged medical condition.
Sure.
It wasn't until I got into recovery and people said all this stuff and I was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? And then that's why I decided to quit drinking and all that, you know? And I thank God that I went that route. But even when I talk about that, that's not even how I would recommend a person handle these problems. The key thing with all of these problems are, can you find one person who knows something about them? And listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying it has to be a licensed therapist, but hopefully they have some kind of understanding about the mental health issue you're dealing with or the substance use issue, who's willing to like talk to you out loud about it and help you figure it out. Mm-hmm. If you could do that, you are 90% ahead of everybody out there. The problem with substances and with mental health issues is when we try to figure them out all ourselves. Does that make sense? Like when it's just me against the world.
Yeah, just white knuckling.
I don't talk about this stuff. This is not what a real man does.
Okay.
That's where you get in trouble, brother.
So there's a few, from a solution standpoint, there's a few categories. One, and you started to go down that tangent. If I'm like, yeah, there might be something there.
Yes.
To that person, what is the pathway? So what you just said?
The biggest thing, yes. So for anybody who's thinking something's going on, the number one danger to a person who has those type of problems is loneliness. Loneliness is like fuel being poured on the fire. Mm-hmm. So if you're drinking a little bit, loneliness is going to drive that up. If you're feeling a little bit depressed, loneliness is going to drive that up. And we live in a world right now that promotes loneliness. Yeah. We're less connected than we ever have been. Uh-huh. So, unfortunately, what has happened is we've had to create this professional class. I don't know how else to say it. People say, "Rich, you sound like you're describing a professional friend." That's not what it is. But we call them coaches. Other people call them peer support. You can call them whatever you want. It's not therapy. But we believe you need to have somebody that can initiate this conversation with. Mm-hmm. And in our world, we believe that person should be trained. But that's because we're taking calls. It doesn't have to, I want to make this clear. It doesn't have to be one of our people, though. Mm-hmm. What we've lost in our world is the most fundamental thing that a culture can lose, and it's one-to-one, face-to-face human connection. This is so easy. Yeah. Like when I went to grad school, dude, and I learned about why do people struggle? The most obvious thing is this thing called systemic theory, which is like we struggle because we are meant to be around other humans. And whenever you disconnect from that, like bad shit happens. Mm-hmm. Like think about anything you've ever seen about a school shooter. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen a school shooter described as he was extremely popular and he was in all these different clubs and he was in a chess club and he was in a debate? No, it's always what? He was a loner.
Yeah.
And think about anything you've ever heard about substance use. What's one of the biggest risks for alcoholism? Isolation. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I would say to anybody out there as far as a solution, I say a coach, that's the word, but that's just me using a term. What I mean by that is another human being who you trust enough that you can get honest with them, right? You don't have to tell them everything about your past, but can you be honest enough to say, I'm hurting today? And that they're going to be kind enough and skillful enough in the way that they talk that they're going to support you through that. That if you have a person like that in your life, you probably are 90% ahead of most people in our world today.
Sure.
And the sad thing was that used to happen naturally. Mm-hmm. That used to be something that would just go down, you know what I mean, at the volunteer fire department after work or something.
Yeah.
Or at the Little League game. Mm-hmm. Would you agree we don't really roll like that anymore?
No, especially the up and coming generation.
No, dude.
Yeah, we're more isolated than ever. Like work from home and video games and yeah, all kinds of stuff.
And there's a type of therapy. It's humanistic therapy, or what also is called Rogerian therapy, and it was started by this man named Carl Rogers. And so when you talk to different therapists, one thing they should be able to tell you is that this is my therapeutic orientation. Uh-huh. So if you ask me that question, I would say I'm Rogerian. I'm a humanist. I believe that what happens and why people change happens in the context of a relationship. And I want people to hear me clearly. That doesn't mean you need to go see a therapist for the next 7 years and pay them $250 a week to do that. That can happen in one interaction. Mm-hmm. I believe it. Mm. But what happens is we fall off the path of, this is just my take on psychology in a way, that we are all programmed, we want the best for ourselves and we want the best for the world. And you know, whether you have a religious orientation or whatever your orientation is, we get knocked off that path, right? We're not born evil, like, you know what I mean? Like, and when we're off that path, that's called incongruent. We're not living true to who we are, and it's a terrible emotional place to be.
And those are the most miserable people.
Most miserable people. These are also the people who make all the money in the world and just hate everybody.
Yeah.
Yep, you know those people,
Yeah.
and they're everywhere, and they're all in all walks of life. And so, what can get you back on that path? What can swing you back on that path? And what I believe is that another human being is the most effective at doing that. Because have you ever had this experience, man? Like, I can remember things that have been said to me by people over the years. Number one, that I don't even understand why it's important that that person said it to me. Like, who was that guy?
Sure.
Like, why was this like assistant JV basketball coach who was like coaching us on his winter break, who I didn't particularly like? Do you follow me?
You're sitting here decades later thinking about
the fact that he talked to me, that he, in his opinion, I was the most improved defensive player year over year.
Yeah.
What the hell? I don't even know if I like that guy. But that's how we are. I believe that's how we're conditioned. I believe that's why the species, we are the apex predator, because that's the only reason we're together. Like, that quality led to all the socialization and led to all the cooperation.
Well, and you hope someone's going to pull themselves out of something like that.
And we've been told you should be able to.
And we've been told you should be able to when you hit rock bottom.
Yep.
And it does have to come within to persist, I think. Like, to sustain it, it does have to be on them. But you do have to pull people out of it as well.
Yes.
There has to be some external pull. Whether that's a DUI, like it doesn't have to be a person. It could be
and it always is,
you know, yeah. But something has to knock you off that course, because there's this. I've watched it with so many people now as I've gotten more life experience. They're just in this doom loop.
They're in a doom loop,
and they cannot break out of it.
It's like something has to shake them off of it, right?
And
like,
something has to, knock into them
like
and hit them off that course.
And now you got that terrible sound it makes whenever you scratch the needle.
Exactly.
You have an event. And Jim Collins, who wrote the book Good to Great, and he just came out with another book. It's for middle-aged dudes like me. It's called What to Make of a Life. And it's the best book I've read in so long, dude.
Oh, really?
There's such cool shit in it. But one of the things is like, make no mistake, you change until the day you die, if you choose to.
If you choose to.
There is no such thing as set in your ways. And like, he tells all these stories of people and like how they started businesses later in life. And you know, so it's a really uplifting book. But he talks about, he calls them cliffs. I've seen other people refer to them as life quakes. But like, something will come along and scratch the needle on the record player, and that is the catalyst for people. Other people call it hitting bottom, right? Now, I struggle deeply with the term hitting bottom, because it implies don't do anything until stuff gets worse. But it is this principle.
Sure. Yeah.
Something knocks you out, knocks you into place.
Now, what do you do if you are around somebody struggling, but you aren't sure what to do?
Yeah.
Someone close to you is in this position.
Yeah. Yep.
But you don't know where to go.
This is a really good question, man.
Yeah.
And it comes up in all walks of life, man. This is we actually created some courses for construction workers, and where like a foreman could talk to an employee, but it's just as often a family member that you might need to talk to, friend. And it's the hardest conversation. So the first thing is, and this sounds a little bit woo-woo or kind of weird, but I would literally like examine, how do you feel about saying this? Like, and what's getting in the way of you saying it? Are you afraid this person's going to get angry at you? Are you afraid that you're like, who am I to get in this person's business? I don't even have my shit together. You know, like, what's the script that's making you trepidatious around this conversation? It's usually something like, they're going to get mad at me. They're not going to talk to me.
Yeah.
You have to like get in touch with that in your head, because that'll subconsciously keep you from doing it. Then the next thing is, and it's really not a script, but we do have like what we say like front load it. You know, first of all, pick a time and place where it's just you and the person. It's a one-on-one. Make sure you have enough time. You know what I mean? Like, don't do it in a hit and run situation. Front load it with, hey, listen, so-and-so. Hey, Rich, listen. I'm not trying to get in your business or anything. I'm only saying this because I care. Is it cool? Can we talk about something? There's two things. Like, try to express that you care and ask permission to have a conversation. It's harder for the person to be pissed at you if you front load it and go out of your way to say, I really care. And I'm just saying this because here's what I say, because I've had to have this conversation with family members. I had to have it with my adult daughter, for example.
Yeah.
That, you know, with drinking, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, that type of thing. But, you know, classic situation. I'm going to have this conversation. She's going to get angry at me. And what I said with her that worked was, I simply love you too much to ignore this. I have to say something. So say something like that up front. And then after that, just stick to what you're concerned about. And here's the last thing. Stop talking at some point. Don't turn it into a laundry list of all the things the person has done wrong. Just simply, what you're trying to do is express concern. Does that make sense? And then the only other thing I would say is, depending on the person, like if it's a company, somebody at the company you're worried about, maybe you bring the EAP number with you. If it's a family member, maybe you say like, hey, call your therapist. I know you were working with a therapist. Like that part of it depends on who the person is.
Sure.
And I will tell you, as a person who was on the receiving end of this, I was probably the poster child for don't talk to him. Like, I was very good with my words. I could gaslight anybody. It was really hard for me to get mad when especially with my family, when they said like, I don't know who told them to do that. Like that's a line that I use to this day from my own intervention. Was my brother. My brother said it. And I'm not going to act like we were super close, but he said like, what do you want us to do, Rich? We love you too much to just ignore this. And there was something about that made it really hard for me to say, get out of my face.
But it was also, was it, if memory serves me correct, a unified front?
It was a unified front.
It was your family.
And I knew, this is a really good point you're making. If you're out there and you're thinking about doing this, if it's a family member, you got to have a unified front.
Yeah.
If you have... If there are 4 people that are important to this person and you got 3, but the 4th one isn't, that's all. It's not going to work.
Well, but even it's a lot harder to refute 3 people than it is 1.
For sure. We would not do it like this is very, very important part of the conversation. Like I won't do, and some people will try to do an intervention where even if they have 1 family member, they'll do it. And I don't call that an intervention. That's more like a family meeting or something, and it never works. Because the person could just look at the other person and say, you're crazy, Aaron.
Yeah, sure.
What are you talking about, dude? I didn't drink 43 beers. You got to have at least one other person who can side.
Because it's not, I think what people struggle with too is it's not rational. It's like it's so clearly a problem to outside people, but to them
that's because it truly is a brain disease.
Yes, it's not rational. And that's where I think humans struggle too, is like, I'm trying to rationalize it. Like, it's so clearly stupid for them to be doing this.
Yeah, that is a huge problem.
That's not how they see it, or else they wouldn't be doing it. Like
it's probably like, it's so misunderstood, and the problem is we wind up having like intervention type conversations, honestly, with people who probably don't need like a rehab type conversation. The other part of it is, when we do an intervention, it doesn't have anything to do with the person going to rehab. It has to do with the person making some type of positive change.
Sure.
I'll throw this stat at you. Well, let me just see what you think. If the total percentage of people in America that identify as being in recovery, what percentage of them do you think had to do it through rehab?
Maybe a third.
It was 13%.
Okay.
So the overwhelming majority of people never darken the door of a rehab. How about this question? How many people do you think, when you ask the question of, okay, Aaron, you quit drinking, you quit using substances, did you do it with help or did you do it on your own? What do you think that split is?
A majority with help?
It's about 50-50, believe it or not.
Okay.
I
believe that.
The reason I bring this up is and again, those of us who, for good intentions, we created these rehabs and we created these solutions and we tell people things like, you got to go to AA and stuff. And like, it's just dead wrong. And it puts family members into these situations where like they have these fights with that aren't even necessary. Mm-hmm. This is what I know based on my personal experience in my own recovery, hundreds of people that I've met along the way in my personal recovery, but professionally as well, is about 80% of people, if they keep trying, will get better. That's the bottom line, dude. And you want to know what I mean by keep trying? If you drank, you come back and you start over.
That's been my experience. Is I've watched somebody go through this later in life.
Yep.
After struggling and struggling and struggling, they went through a recovery program. I think it was beneficial because it was community.
Yes.
If anything. And so when they still talk about it, it's about those that they met through the recovery program that have helped them. So I think it's less about the program and more so the community they were able to glean from it. But it was up and down for a while.
Yeah.
It was really up and down for a while. And it took...
You know what's interesting about that is, I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole, but there's a lot of interesting work being done. Okay, so you have somebody who's in recovery, or let's just take me, for example. I'll use myself as an example.
Yeah.
I go on like what you would call like a classic like addiction progression. If you look at my timeline, start drinking when I was in my teens, escalates, other substances come in, I get sober when I'm like 32. What's going on is that there are people who like then stay sober for a while that are drinking again then when they're like in their 50s.
Yeah.
And they're developing a problem with it. But here's what's fascinating. What they did the first time around isn't working for them the second time around because the reason that they're drinking is completely different.
Sure.
The first time around, their drinking came out of a pattern of like partying, going at it hard, it just boys will be boys kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If I started drinking today, honestly, it'd be more like I'm bored or like retirement.
I got a divorce or
divorce and life changes are huge. So the person, what they need to do is they need to like take the knowledge that they had over here, but it's not the same deal. You're not going to have to go to AA every day.
Sure.
You're not going to, you know what I mean? But like you got like what worked over here and what can you transfer to your new situation?
But I've also met people that love AA. And it's
for sure.
It's been a great tool.
And I would put me in that category.
Yeah, and I've met people that have gone to it and that have been like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
And you as an outsider, it's you, at least I have to intentionally be like, okay, it's not for them. Do you want to know
what I get out of AA, dude? I will tell you, I have met, and this is what they talk about in AA when they talk about spiritual awakenings and spiritual progress. Like people get it all wrong and they get all up in their head. Like you could see it when you see it, and it's the most amazing thing. Like I know a dude in AA in Pittsburgh who I only see him like maybe like once every 6 months. Every time I see him, I'm so inspired. You want to know why? This guy lost his wife to cancer, and all I can ever remember is just the way this dude walked through that. How he kept his head up, how kind he was to everybody, how on one occasion he took a call from me when I was going through shit with something on my end. And like, I love AA for that. Does that make sense?
Someone said it best not too long ago. They said they love talking to alcoholics or addicts because they're honest.
It's like, yeah,
that's exactly what I've experienced.
Yes.
Because I think to overcome it, you have to be honest with yourself.
About a pretty big deal.
You
follow me? Like it's like you're and especially like when I was 31, right? And that's a young age to quit drinking, dude.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was a big deal. No more. And nobody was talking back then about moderation or anything. It was like if you're in, Rich, you're in. No more Steeler games. No more.
Well, it's really tough socially. Yeah. I have someone close to me in their 20s that quit drinking.
Yep.
It's not easy.
It is not easy at all.
Man,
people can say whatever they want. It is so hard, dude.
Because it's isolating.
Yes,
it's isolating, and then especially in a social interaction too. It's like it's not as easy as just being the only person not drinking, because then it's threatening to everybody else there.
And people who tell you just don't go drink it's like you're missing the main point that everybody's drinking there.
Yeah,
like the main point we're all getting in this strange place where we're all just
That's
so
why
we can
we're
get
there.
a little buzz on so we can interact with each other a little easier. Like I'm literally walking in here with a handicap by definition from the beginning of this whole process. That is so hard.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's where I believe more important than like a therapy situation, it's almost like a coaching situation. That's where what I needed in a situation like that was a sense of normalcy. I needed to be able to call somebody up and have the person on the other end of the phone. It took like 2 minutes. Dude, I remember feeling that way. You're okay.
Sure.
And I'd be like, okay, cool. You get it? It wasn't like I didn't feel low self-esteem. I didn't feel like, you know what I mean, anything that deep. I just felt this kind of sucks. And I need to know. And I'll be honest with you, to this day, I say this to people all the time. Like, I still wish I could drink.
Yeah.
I still wish that like I drank more like a quote unquote normal person.
Sure.
Or whatever the appropriate term is. And I often think, I wonder if I could do that. I never will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't want to act like I quit drinking because I think alcohol should be prohibition or anything like that. And it's just like poison or something that's going to like.
Well, and I tell people all the time, like, I love drinking.
Yeah.
I've had nothing but good times drinking.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
It's so much fun. And I'm a great drunk.
Yep.
But
I was a professional, dude.
yeah, my tolerance has never been very high.
Here's one thing though, you got to admit though, it definitely from a physical health standpoint
It obliterates
is an
you.
immediate.
Well, I think the worst thing about it, so the number one thing you can do for health is sleep.
You're right.
Drinking obliterates your sleep quality.
Yes.
And so you are destroying yourself,
Yes.
not just your body, your liver. People talk liver. You're destroying your entire body,
Yes.
especially if you're drinking at night, which is a majority of drinking. Like
Yep.
I actually enjoy drinking during the day the
Yeah.
most because then I could recover and actually sleep.
Right. That's a good point.
But
yeah.
most everybody's drinking at night. And it just ruins your sleep quality. Like that's why like wearing a Whoop or a Apple Watch or something like that, you
Yeah.
look at your recovery the day after drinking, you're toast.
Okay.
You're cooked.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think it's actually most corrosive.
And I think that type of conversation around alcohol is happening more often, and as much. I do think the world is moving toward a healthier approach like that. You hear it more often.
I'm toggling back and forth because I think it's being just replaced by something else.
Yeah.
I think it's being replaced by GLP-1s, which is actually really big right
yeah,
now.
man, you're right.
Huge percentage of the U.S.
Yeah.
population on GLP-1s.
Yeah.
Which reduces the desire for appetite and alcohol.
Desire for anything.
Yes, desire for anything. But what else does it do? I don't know, man.
Right.
But it's being replaced by that. It's being replaced by tobacco products and other things as well.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like it's tempting to look at the decline in alcohol consumption that's been happening like a great thing. And I think some of it is, but I'm not convinced that it's because people are getting healthier. I think it's being substituted.
And if you look deeper into that, one of the things that's going on in the parenting world is so less kids are having premarital sex than ever before, and less kids are underage drinking than ever before. But is that a good thing or a bad thing? That might sound like a weird thing to say, but what people are saying is that's because kids aren't doing anything.
Yeah, because they're at home.
They're all anxious and they're all wired out and they're all Dude, we take our kids off of phones and stuff. Like we don't do it. Like I told my kid, we'll get you this thing called a Wise phone if I'm paying for it. But if you do your own thing, get your own phone. But I'm not contributing to your downfall. It's the hardest thing in the world to keep these kids off of devices.
Well, I watch it at airports with small kids.
Yeah,
They're like little drug addicts.
it's a problem, man.
Like you see them take the iPad away. They don't know what to do with themselves.
What are we doing?
It's crazy.
Like it is.
Yeah, but anyway, that's a whole other.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Can
That's
of
a
worms.
whole other topic. Yeah.
So what if I am a leader within a business?
Yeah.
All right, you guys, yes, there's a problem here. I want to do something.
Yep.
What do I do?
So there's different levels. This is the most honest conversation. There's doing nothing. What are all the options in the universe? You could literally do nothing. Do exactly what you've been doing now. Cross your fingers. Hope nobody takes their own life.
Yeah.
Hope nobody overdoses. Understand, like, I don't know how many of these accidents are related to mental health. Like, you're losing money every day, but that is an option.
And that's better than saying something about it and not doing something, I would argue. Yeah.
If you're not going to do anything about it, just do status quo. Out of sight, out of mind. And I have no idea how many people are rolling like that, but I'm going to tell you it's more than a handful.
Yeah.
There's probably a fair number.
And frankly, I don't blame them. If I were in that position, I would probably be doing that, I think.
Yeah.
I
think so. And
I don't judge them.
I think that's where I think that there is a place, and I've done these, where if you're a company and you have never talked about this before, I do think there's a place for some type of and I would recommend integrating it into like a safety event that you have, a company-wide event. I do think a mental health awareness, if you've never talked about this, do it one time.
Okay.
I think you get somebody in there to have a conversation about this.
Okay.
But don't bring them back again for year 2 unless you're going to do something else about it. And what do I mean by something else? Have some type of robust service delivery behind the stigma reduction talk. In an ideal world, we believe like there's a rhythm in a company. You have like a stigma reduction talk that goes on at your company event, and then you back that up with a program for the rest of the year. And there are different programs that do it. Build Well Health does it. That's what we do. There are other programs out there you can find. I'll be real honest with you. I would vet that really hard.
Yeah.
There are EAP providers who you just get a phone number and they don't visit the company. They won't come out to the safety event. They'll basically tell you, call us if you need us. That is not, I don't think that works.
No, I'll say as an employer, any of those programs offered by the big insurance carriers are complete dog shit.
Yeah, there you go.
I
don't want to come off like that.
Yeah, you don't have to say it, but I'll say it.
Yeah.
They're horrendous. I would never use them personally.
Yep.
And I don't want our people using them.
They're awful. They're awful.
Yeah.
And so, but you have to investigate that and you have to look at it. And here's what you want to do. If you're talking to people and you're saying like, what would be different, or how would you ask them to explain how are they going to get to your people? So like when I have a conversation with a company that we're going to come on board with, how can I get out to the job site? Can one of my people visit one of your job sites? At the same time, we don't want to be a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? We know we're not going to get out there more than once, but let's work together. We do not want the gym membership model. Do you know what I mean by that? Where like a person just signs up for the gym membership.
And then you're getting the recurring revenue.
Yep. And we also believe that you don't, the other thing that we think works really, really well is you use more of a coaching model than a therapy model. I will say this to anybody who teaches therapy or any other therapists out there. Most people who are seeking therapy really aren't seeking therapy. They're seeking this thing called supportive counseling, which is really coaching. They're not trying to resolve a relationship with their mom from back in the day or a trauma that they underwent. That's not, most people are coming in and they want to talk about, this is what went on today.
Sure.
You believe my boss said that to me? My kid just got kicked out of school, whatever it is. You follow me? It's like the house is on fire. How do we put the fire out?
Yeah.
So I recommend more of coaching models. Now, you want to back all that up with the professional clinical stuff, but that's not what the majority of your people are going to need.
And they need that because they don't have the skill set. And I think people, as an employer, I've accepted that I have to create that skill set within people because they didn't get it growing up.
Right.
Sure as shit didn't get it growing up. They didn't get it in school. They definitely have not gotten it from former employers.
Right.
They've probably been abused by former employers. So I actually have to undo a lot of former employer stuff. And so that's how they're coming in the door.
And they've also got it from a profession, and I'll just be real honest in the spirit of transparency, psychotherapy sucks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad practitioners, and the model itself does not lend itself to bring people in the door.
And when I was going through therapy, that was almost everything about it, was me just talking about what's happening today.
That's called supportive counseling. That's not actual psychotherapy.
Sure. Yeah.
Psychotherapy is. I've been saying this for decades, dude. I've been saying we're not doing therapy.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing like regular therapy through insurance companies and stuff, we weren't doing depth psychology trying to figure out anything. Like it was literally like, do you believe my boss said this to me? And don't get me wrong, it's really helpful. And I believe everybody should have it going on. I just like, let's call it what it is, man.
Yeah.
Because here's the other thing. Do you know if it's coaching? So Rich Jones can talk to you in two different ways. I can talk to you as a therapist or as a coach. If you call me and for whatever reason we identify that it's going to be therapy, I can charge you a lot more. That's the first thing I can do.
Sure.
The second thing is I'm not allowed to talk to you across state lines, and you have to have a diagnosis. As a coach, we can just go there, dude. You're stressed out about today. You want to talk one time today and deal with that and know you're not going to shoot a nail gun at your boss now? Sure. Excellent. You want to talk, you know what I mean? That is what I consider a more effective model.
Yeah, and that's why I liked it. I actually liked having somebody that, like, I would joke about it, but it was serious. It's like I'm paying them to listen to me.
Yes.
And they're completely unbiased. They're not in my life.
That's what a good therapist does.
They don't really know anything about my life, like other than what I'm telling them, but they don't know my mom. You know, they're not
right.
They don't know my dad. They don't know my siblings, the people I work with. And they just listen. And it was, she spoke maybe 5% of the hour.
Yep. That's exactly right.
That's kind of it. And it was really helpful because they kind of guide you in a way, like, but it's like a conversational stroll, like a podcast. And in this conversation, I'm guiding, but I'm ultimately letting you go where you want to go as well.
Right.
That was what I found most helpful.
And that's extremely effective.
Yes. Yeah.
And now there are people like you who have the initiative and have the resources and the wherewithal, I would argue, the wherewithal to make the phone calls and set up an appointment and go follow through and go do that. My thesis is simple. The overwhelming majority of people will never do that. They will never go make that call. They will never do the research. They will never go see one therapist, and if it doesn't work out, go to another one. They simply will not do it. Why? I don't know. I mean, human beings, we don't necessarily do what's best for us, right? Like, how many people know they should call a doctor and they don't?
Sure.
So rather than us sitting around and thinking that all of a sudden that's going to change, and Joe construction worker is going to have a moment of insight and call and get an appointment,
you have to go to them.
Let's just be a little bit more realistic even about what the problem is. Does that part make sense? Like, how can you solve a problem when you're not even talking about the actual problem?
Sure.
You're talking about, like, so perfect example. Everybody starts dying from the opioid epidemic, right? And our country spends more money than we ever have on building new facilities, on licensing new doctors, and nothing changes. It raises it year over year because it was never an access problem. It was not what people told us. People do not die because they try to call a rehab and they couldn't get help. They die because they never call a rehab.
Sure. And unfortunately, it's a big business as well. There's a lot of money.
And it's incentivized in a very perverted way.
It's a big business. And when you think about it, you're like, it's a business that doesn't want your customer to go away. If you really helped them, you would constantly be turning over customers.
Right.
So you're not incentivized to even help people because then you're eliminating your customer base.
Right.
But I think all that's fantastic. It's really helpful. Me personally, we've offered what you guys have had to offer for years. It's helped my family in very, very, very profound ways. And I would never as an employer not offer it. And I think what's cool, the coolest thing about what you guys have is it's not just for employees within the business. It's for their family as well.
Yes.
Which I think that's crazy valuable.
Yeah.
And so I've used it, but I haven't used it. It's actually been my family that's used it. But because we have it within the business, they've had access to that help. And then it's made me better at work because now I'm not stressed out.
That's a big deal.
About what's going on outside of work. And so it still shows up here, but I haven't even been the one that's used it.
No, that's the truth.
It's been
man.
family members.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
Yes.
That happens all day, every day.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing I want to make sure I say though, and you kind of like hit the nail on the head earlier, like one takeaway from this that people need to have is, like if people say, Rich, what's the one thing that people could do related to mental health? It would be, at the very least, pay attention to it as an important issue in your life. Does that make sense? Because where I've really gotten, like, I'll get on a kick with certain issues and stuff. And like what I've really noticed, especially like with guys in the industry and stuff, is they will live a certain way. It's Groundhog Day, as if it can't change. Like as if it's like a law of the universe that I have to drink 8 beers tonight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Get 4 hours of restless sleep. Go to work all day today, bust my ass. Like your operating system, you are allowed to change it. And I think where people really get in trouble, Aaron, is when they just go on automatic. They just go and go and go, because then you don't stop unless you hit a wall.
And that's what's been, if I've learned anything from this process myself, it's I've become much more aware of where I'm at and what I'm feeling.
It's such an important part of it.
And if if I have anxiety, I'll recognize I'm anxious right now.
Yep.
And then I'll ask, why am I anxious? Or if something really bothers me, I'll read something or I'll talk to somebody and it bothers me. I'll ask, why did that bother me so much? Why am I sitting here? Why am I pissed off right now? And just that loop alone dramatically changed things.
And that's what I've been trying to say to people. Like we wind up talking about the solution, right? And I believe there is like an ideal solution that every company should adopt today. Call Build Well Health. Let's get it done.
Yes,
but
I agree.
But the truth is, man, like even if you're not down with that, wrap your mind around the fact that like you just can't go on automatic pilot, man. Like you will break down.
Yeah.
No matter how badass you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is. You are eventually going to hit a wall.
Well, but if you don't, it's also a superpower. Like people, because of my schedule, they'll like, and because of how much I work, they worry for me. They're like, oh, you're gonna burn out, this and that. I'm like, I don't think so. Actually, I'm like crazy healthy. I'm mentally sound right now. I don't drink. Like what's the problem?
The problem?
What's the problem?
Yeah, dude, it's so true. The problem is when all of a sudden you stop paying attention to any of that stuff and you stop exercising. You know what I mean?
But that's why I'm so diligent, because I've gotta have that shit squared away to then facilitate what I'm trying to do here.
Yep.
But taking care of my mind, it has been an absolute weapon.
And that's part of the messaging. This part of the messaging, I feel like that's something we need to do better.
Yeah.
Because and that's also where like we need more voices coming in and people like you, because when they read Rich Jones and they have like all these initials after it, I'll get in there and I'll quickly like dispel them of like their previous thinking about me. But I have to do that, right? Because they think of me as just the therapy guy.
Yeah.
We got to get it down to like where this isn't all about the therapy guy. This is about everyday type stuff, man. And we're all doing it, and we need to pay attention to it. You know what I mean? More than we ever have. Another good example is how much time people spend on social media.
Yeah. It's
like there's all kinds of everyday things that you can do.
But even as an individual and as a man, like I am not just better for myself. I am better for those around me. I'm better for people at this business. I will be better for my family.
Yep.
Like that's what's been hard is I've actually learned it from my parents in a bad way. Like I watched one parent do it when they were in their 50s.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this in my 50s.
Right.
Are you kidding me? And I've watched one parent implode because of it.
Yeah.
They're never coming out of it.
Yeah.
I wish I could say, no, I'm hopeful. It's just, they're gone.
Yeah.
Like mentally, it's not rational. It's just
like a point of no return.
They're just gone.
Yeah.
Because they never dealt with it their entire life.
Right.
And I've seen both of those things and I'm like, dude, no way am I waiting for this to hammer me later in life.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm going to handle this shit now, because that's also the nice thing about building the skill set when earlier on and handling your shit. Like I think all of us are screwed up as a child,
Yes.
as a kid.
Yeah, it's impossible to not be.
There's no way you're getting out of childhood unscathed. You could be in a war zone. You can be bullied in the 4th grade. Bad is bad. Trauma is trauma.
Correct. Yep.
And to say one's worse, okay, on paper, yeah, war is worse, but to that child, it
still is your experience.
The same thing.
Yep.
To get into that and to figure that out and to understand why you are, and to understand why you have these fears and why you react in these ways within these situations, like it changes throughout your life, but I feel like understanding that is like the essential skill set to then cope with the rest of life.
And it's revealing.
Yes.
And it's liberating.
Yeah, it's liberating. That's exactly it.
And that's the stuff. So this is where I think people get it different. Like, I feel like there's a type of therapy and labels that they put on it. They call it like depth psychology. We're going to go deep and we're going to figure that out. That's some of the stuff you're talking about.
Some of it.
Then there's also this other thing that I call supportive counseling, and that you've also experienced, where it's more like the stressors of the day, the stressors of the week. I think where we want to start is with that second group.
Yeah.
Because that first group, you have to be a certain type of person who has a little bit more insight.
Yeah, and I think
to go there.
I think what you're talking about with the second thing is, I think it starts to tease it out.
It does. It naturally will come out.
I think
You're
it'll
right
naturally come out, and
Yeah.
that's what's happened with me. It's naturally come out
You
over time.
start there, and then it goes down into it. You're absolutely right. Yep.
Yeah. But then once it's out in the open, it's like, it's out in the open. I see you now.
Yes.
And again, it doesn't go away. But like when anxiety comes out of the woodwork, I'm like, I see you.
Right.
And then it's not as bad because I can identify it, and I almost like accommodate it in a way.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wait, I'm really anxious right now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it less fun. This sucks. But it's here with me in the room.
Right.
And even just that acknowledgement makes it so much more palatable.
It's the key thing. Oh, yeah. And like where people go with it, like what you'll see is you find like any other industry, there's not universal agreement on a lot of things in mental health. People will argue about what works and what doesn't. But one of the things that nobody will argue with is it all starts with thought recognition. It starts with awareness.
Yeah.
Like and the danger and where we get ourselves in trouble with, whether it's depressive thinking or like obsessive thinking or even wanting to drink, with relapse and stuff like that, it's whenever you just ruminate.
Yeah.
And you play with that stuff.
Yeah.
And you run with it. And you go to work and you have a bad day at work, man, and so said something. And you spent all day just wanting to kick his ass, but you didn't say anything, and you stuff that. And then you come home and you're worried about your son who just got in trouble at school, and you stuff that, and you stuff this, and you stuff that, and drink beers over top of it. And and then not only does it show up in your behaviors at work, it shows up in your physical condition.
100%. Well, in your whole life. But then if you can learn to regulate your emotions, most people can't do that. And it allows you to navigate situations so much more effectively.
Well, and
if you're not going to get wound up.
Yeah, and what is going to go on? Like, who's going to teach? Where are people going to learn that moving forward?
And I think they will learn that from employers.
Yeah,
it's not coming from the government. It's not coming from education.
It's not coming from the neighborhood anymore.
It's not coming from the neighborhood.
It used to.
But you can get it back through employment. Help parents understand this and work through this, and then it'll permeate the household naturally.
Yeah,
like that's my belief. That's at least how I think I can impact the world around me.
Yeah,
is I can just start within our business, and I start within our business by talking about my experience. Yeah, which then has allowed other people to meet me where I am because it's opened the door.
Right.
To then sort some things out themselves.
Right. Yeah, that's where you'd have to start with. That's the only way you would get to people. But it's wild to think about, man.
It's not coming from healthcare. It's not coming from the insurance companies.
Yeah. Because and again, we could wind up talking all day about this. But if you think about like where did people learn like problem solving skills and mask it? Like anybody who learned how to like things I learned that I use for my business today, I literally learned in the neighborhood I grew up in, resolving conflicts with other kids and stuff. It wasn't taught to me in any kind of way. Nobody ever talked to me about emotional intelligence or anything like that. I often wondered, like, how did we learn how to do that stuff?
Well, and even again, it was just a different world. It was like, but if you mouthed off to somebody, you'd get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, there seemed to be like a natural.
There's
set
real
of consequences.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like the system was sort of there to kind of like, it was self-correcting, right? Like, yeah, I'm not going to say that again because I'm going to get my ass kicked if I say that again.
And yeah, I've read all sorts of stuff. Like even there is this belief that children have become less safe over time. They've become far more safe over time.
Statistically, yeah.
Statistically speaking, from kidnappings and this and that. It was a lot from like the 90s and all these sensationalized cases, but statistically they're far safer. But now parents think, well, hey, this is a more and more dangerous world than ever before because I'm turning on the news or social media and this kid's missing and this alert and that alert. So I need to keep my kids closer than ever before. I can't let them wander. And it's 100 things. But we could talk about that.
But if you think about like let's just make an assumption. Let's say that society kind of had a natural way of supporting each other that's gone away. That's not a stretch to say that. With technology and stuff, it's a different world, right? Yeah. So if we don't have that natural way to connect to each other, we're going to have to create it in the workplace or companies like BuildWell, or therapy is going to have to be rethought.
Yeah.
If it's not just going to come up because we live in communities anymore, that's kind of how it's looking, man. If you want to get real dystopian about it, as you're moving to a fundamentally different society.
We're already there.
We're already there.
But I that's why I'm so optimistic about business. I think, especially in America, America's kind of the only place you can do this.
Yeah.
You can start a business and you can buck those trends.
Yeah.
Without, and sure, it's idealistic, but you can buck those trends by being better yourself and then helping those around you become better.
And you can find enough people. That's what I have found.
Yes.
I find people like you. And, like I'm not going to be, BuildWell Health isn't going to be the most popular provider at the addiction treatment conference. Do you know what I mean? Like
that's
not who we're trying to be popular with.
Sure.
So but you got to find some people that'll ride the bus with you initially.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of weird.
Well, like you said, I think we could sit here and talk all day about this. Absolutely. I'm obviously very passionate about this.
It's an interesting subject too.
It's a really interesting subject. It's a really interesting time for this subject.
Yeah.
And
it is.
I'm a huge believer in what you guys have going. I have like no financial interest in what you guys do.
Yeah.
I don't promote stuff I don't believe in. I've promoted you guys at every turn because we've had it for years.
Yeah.
My family's benefited from it personally in very profound ways.
Yep.
And it's an expense even when we're like on death's doorstep as a business.
Yeah.
That we haven't questioned.
Right.
It's like the power bill. You don't question it, man.
Yeah.
It's we have to do this.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
So right on. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, man.
And then people to find you all, what's the website?
www.buildwellhealth.com.
BuildWell.com.
Yep. BuildWell health.com.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep. Awesome.
Rich, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Aaron. Good stuff.